You know, I can get where someone might say it sounds a little crazy. Oh, you're not going to stream on Monday anymore because you work on Monday, and even though you don't work on Monday until like the afternoon, evening. And what I try to explain is that while I'm not someone who is against streaming at all, I prefer to have it just be 2 times a week. And the only time I abstain from having it on one of my set days is if I'm really busy on that particular day, like a variation of that day. Um, and there actually have been multiple instances where I would stream on a day where I would work. So, like, we had the work weekend streams from when my job was having me work on Saturday and Sunday. But besides that, I try to just, if it's a work day, stream either day after, day before, it really just depends. I had quite an interesting shift and a tiring one at that. I was supposed to work from 5 to 10. I get there, Mixed Signals Queen shows up the hour before I do. I technically get there before she does to get something to eat, but then I see her when I go back in there, later on. And it's usually it's the same old routine, saying nothing to each other. I have a few people that I speak to and I'm courteous with. But about 3 hours in, one of the managers approaches me and he has kind of like a meek voice. He's like, "Hey, Justin, do you want to stay later?" And of course, when I hear that, I see dollar signs, so I say yes. And I kept thinking to myself, okay, they're probably going to give me another hour, maybe another two. Because my main duty has always been to wash everything. And I finished washing everything tonight around, it must have been a little bit after 1 in the morning, so like 2 hours ago, or a little bit over 2 hours ago, less than 3 hours ago at this point, because it's about to be four soon. And after I did that, I was thinking, okay, well, now they're going to let me go as they normally do. You finished your main task, get out of here. But to my surprise, as other people were being sent, back to their domain, they kept me, and I didn't leave until by the end of it, it was just me and the three managers that were there. Um, and it's funny because I always see myself as kind of like a joke employee, the one, in terms of just the places where they barely give you hours or whatever. But man, when I saw that 8 hours and 10 minutes, it felt nice. I thought to myself, that's actually, so at maximum they've been given about 5 hours a day. Sometimes it'll be 4 hours. And it dawned on me. I said, wow, they gave me the equivalent of almost 2 days of work in the span of one shift. Like, if I were to just, good example, the shift on either Wednesday, or because I'm off today, but the one that I'm going to have, one of the ones I have this week will be 4 hours. So I was up there so long today that I pretty much earned the same amount almost from, those last 3 hours being added on that I would have if I just came there and had some 4 hour shift. And it's pretty surreal. I do get tired, because a lot of this stuff is late at night. But man, I did get hungry as well. But I just kept it all in. I said, hey, if they want me for another hour, another 2 hours, another 3 hours, I'm game. Because after they, furthered it from 10 o'clock, I really had no idea how long that was going to go. It could have been, again, until 11, until 12, until 1. but it just kept going and going, and I was just sitting there. I got a lot of compliments during this night, and there were some fun things. I know at one point one of the managers spilled, so I guess turned the faucet on or some water hose, and it sprayed all over the ground. Like you would think they were trying to turn the inside of the place in the Sea World. It was really like, and it's crazy too because it didn't just get the ground; it hit the countertop of one of the, I guess a lot of people will like use to just write something on. So I was that part was amusing to me, even if I wasn't like paying the most attention to it because it was like toward the end of it, and I was just kind of doing whatever I could to look like I was busy. But yeah, all in all, this was the longest. So again, they've been given these 5 hour, 4 hour shifts. This is either the longest or second longest shift I've had all year. Back when I started there was about 7 hours. You get there at 5 or 6, stay till or rather you get there at like 6, stay till 1. But now for this one, it just kept going and going. And I was really kind of wondering, when they do the whole "can you stay later," it is like desperation, right? Somebody calls out sick or another person, can't make it, whatever. And I'm never adverse to, I said before, I used to cover people all the time when they didn't want to come to the job. They would just call me up and or write me a text message, and a lot of times I didn't even know who it was, um, because, like I said, I'm not. I wouldn't call myself friends with many of them there. I don't really speak to any of them outside of when I'm there. Not for lack of trying, but just I said before, a lot of times people just are not receptive to you in that manner when they're not working with you, I should say. So yeah, I couldn't believe it when he said, "Can you stay longer?" I said yes, even though I'm very lazy. God, there's like a parallel or alternate universe where I'm working that same job, but they don't hire new people every 5 seconds. So they actually did hire me full time to clean stuff, and it's like Monday through Friday, it's 7 or 8 hours, and I just consistently work that amount throughout the whole week. I don't even mind if it's like a Sunday too, because I said before, I don't really do on like days when I'm not working, it's pretty much the same thing whether it's a weekend or a weekday. Um, so it's just funny to think about how like there's this alternate timeline where I get the same job, but they actually give me a decent amount of hours, and I don't want to say it's happily ever after, but it's a lot more ideal than maybe this week they'll give me 4 days or 3 days or 5 days or 2 days. It's more consistent. That's actually another thing I was going to talk about when they gave me the schedule today, because they do it once, I think, yeah, once a week or once every 2 weeks. It's just whenever they feel like it, pretty much. But when they sent it to me, I looked on my phone and it says 22 hours, and I go, what? Because this upcoming week it's 18, and then this week it was like 14. It was actually probably altogether around 18 as well. They split it where it's like every Tuesday is the start of a new week. I don't know why they do that, but it beats me. Um, I was shocked when I saw that, and I looked at the timing, and I saw where it said I was scheduled for Saturday, I think 7 to 12. And I was like, wait a second. I told them I'm not available on Saturday. Now, of course, as desperate for, I mean, as much money as I can get that I am, if they choose to schedule me that day, there's pretty much no scenario where I would say I can't do this. But man, when I refreshed the page, like just check it, I was like, okay, who else is working that Saturday? Maybe somebody called out and they were like, oh, he's always doing this, so we'll just put him there without his consent. I refreshed it and suddenly I no longer had that shift. That was weird. I've never seen that before. The only time I've seen something that crazy is when one day I went to pick up a shift for a coworker on Saturday. And after I refreshed the page, it wasn't like immediate, but like later on, they approved it, the Saturday shift, and they added a Friday one. And I only learned about this like the night before. So it's like you apply for one shift and they give it to you, but they throw an extra one into. I was like, all right, whatever. I guess I'll take it. Just so much weird stuff happening with these jobs. They really did have me feeling like a mini, like a pseudo manager where it's like, okay, all the other people get to leave, and now it's just me and three managers, totally not interesting in how that works. I just felt so out of place. Like, hello, one employee who does not technically have the keys to open the place when it's closed or open and can't like give orders. How are you? And when they were clocking out, or I guess when we were clocking out, they all were like bragging, like, "Oh, I got overtime, I got overtime," and I was looking at my thing, I was like, "Wow, me too." Of course, they had like 9 or 10 hours, but anytime I like when you can barely get, you know, 4, 5, right? The one of the few nights where you get 8 plus, you really notice it. And I had a few, it was like 2 or 3 times I had one of them say, "Oh, you're sticking it out like a trooper. We appreciate you. Thanks for all you did." And I would say, like, look, I am a childless, single man with no other job. So, 9 times out of 10, if they say, "Hey, can you stick around for this whatever amount of time?" I'll just do it because there's nothing else waiting for me. But man, it felt great to just like I was certainly more tired and worn out than I normally am because it's usually again like 4 to 5 hours, but small price to pay for some more coins. They could have told me to stay for 10 hours, I would have done it. Out of all the times they've offered me extra time, I think I've only ever turned them down once. And that was because they were like, "Oh, can you stay a half hour?" And I was like, what the hell is that? No, ever since now I just remember there actually was another instance where they did that where they were like, "Hey, can you stay longer?" And it ended up being like 2 or 3 more hours. Um, but outside of like those two occasions and maybe another one, it's very rare to get that amount. Like the only time where they try to just extend me by a big amount is if somebody else just is like, "I don't feel good, my tummy hurts. No, thank you. Forget work. To hell with work." That's the only time they're like, all right, we can use you. We need you. Please, can you stay?" And every time they do it, it's so interesting because it's like I don't want to say you have power or anything, but I'm always so fascinated in the idea that a job tells you you'll be here from 5 to 10. And so they know that the second that clock hits 10, you can just dip out of there. Um, so when they come to you, they're like, hey, can you stay longer? Like, sure. But I just thought that was interesting, just how they're kind of in this position where they have, I don't want to say they have to beg, but it's like, hey, person that we barely speak to and don't even say hello to and act like doesn't exist for most of the day, can you assist us when you don't have to? It's like, all right, whatever. You would not see me complaining. Mm. I'm serious. I still can't believe that actually happened. Just I was thinking it would be maybe one more hour, hour and a half, but they just kept me going and going. My motto is always look busy. So if like I try to do stuff as fast as I can in most cases, but after I finish cleaning everything or washing everything, whatever, I just was like, okay, they said clean that. I'll just do this, clean this. Okay. It's whatever. Only time you see me like really just is if it's some kind of task they've preordained me to have. Like, hey, by the end of today, you need to clean this, that, this, that, this, that. That's when you'll see me running back and forth and getting serious about stuff. But the rest of it is just whatever, whatever it takes. Oh, it is pretty surreal to think about how earlier this year there were at least two occasions where they sent me home early, and it really pissed me off because it was like you drive all the way out there and you only get 3 hours or 2 hours or whatever other nonsense they decide to go about giving you. But now it seems like the reverse is happening where if anything they're giving more and more hours. Like I just it's such a strange reversal where like back then, you get whatever little bit of hours they pre-assign to you, and then you try to pick up other people's shifts, fill in for them, whatever. But now it looks like you can't go maybe a week without, hey, can you stay longer? I'm saying those shift pickups were ridiculous. I mean, I've had numbers I don't even recognize, people I've maybe said one or two words to in all the months of working with them. Hey, Justin, can you fill in for me today, tomorrow, at this time, that time? Like, okay, who are you? Because when you get there, you're supposed to say, hey, I'm filling in for this person, whatever. I remember this one guy was like, "You're so mean. I'll never fill in for you." I was like, "I don't need anybody to fill in for me. I don't miss work. I don't have any surprised appointments or schedules or whatever. I'd have to be deathly ill to not come to my job. I'd like you'd have to see me on laying on the bed with tubes tied up in me and uh, the pastor administering last rites. It would have to be a hell of an emergency to get me to be like, oh yeah, I can't come today. It's been, let's see, November, December, January, February. Well, let's count it in the correct order. So December, it would already be a month. January, February, March, April. August. It's been almost 9 months, and I have not missed one day of work. It's like I said, I don't miss work. Although I do miss my sleep, I can admit that. I've had so many instances where, well, it's such a phenomenon. When I'm up there, I go, just like yawning to where people have noticed it, and even the managers that were there were yawning too because it's like 1 in the morning, and we've all been here for like at this point at least 8 hours each. But I don't know. It's like when I get back to the house or wherever I'm staying, it's like I get a second wind where I do feel tired, but not like pass out, any of that. I just find that interesting. Like I am not. I probably whenever the stream's over, will immediately go to sleep right after this. But right now, whatever I have is just mostly yawning and nothing to where I'm just gonna just fall out or I lean back a little bit and then close my eyes and don't see anything else. It's interesting, that's for sure. Yeah, I'm just looking at all these goofy headphones. I bought some headphones I think about a month ago or within this past month, and I was like, "Oh, great, I can use these." And then I found out that they weren't compatible with my phone, so I just couldn't bother with them, which drives me nuts. And then my favorite thing is now a lot of these like wireless ones, they're giving you cords that don't have a what I would call a box. So, like for example, if you have an iPhone charger, right, it'll have the cord and then what you would plug into the wall, right? You put the cord in there and then whatever. Like these headphone chargers, just to give you an example, I guess they're supposed to be wireless to some degree. So you would plug this part into the headphone, but then you would have to like separately buy a piece to put this inside of so it could then be put into the wall. It's stupid. Now, of course, this is compatible with some computers, probably a lot of PCs, but it's like if I don't own a PC, what am I supposed to do? Ah, man, these companies. It's even funnier too because I was actually thinking of taking those headphones back. I don't know why you can't just get something that has like if it's so hard to get wireless headphones that are not dependent on you going out and like buying something else as well. Like, oh, you want to charge these headphones? Okay, just go and buy this particular type of modem or what. It's irritating. So yeah, I'll try to use these things, but if I still can't use them at least a little bit for my phone, I'll just say forget it because my phone is really the device out of any of them where I need headphones for because there's all types of issues where people are like I can't hear you, and my favorite thing was a relative who said, you need a new phone. And of course, they won't give you 1 cent to get a new phone. So it's just them complaining about something that they're not going to help with, which sounds so eerily familiar. Singing the same old tune, you need to do this, and then helping you with absolutely nothing. So that's that. But yeah, so they definitely went in ways I didn't expect. Like the first thing that was surprising um, was like going to the job significantly earlier than I normally do. Like I was supposed to, I mentioned I usually leave 2 hours early. I left about 3 hours early because I had an errand that I was running, and I finished it sooner than I thought. So I was like, oh, you know what? I might as well just go over there, and then I can just like, I don't know, read a book or something. And I did read a book. I read the Nixon biography, and particularly the parts that I plan on having for part two, which is his entire, I'd say, congressional career. When he was a congressman and senator, it's all wrapped up in about a few hundred pages. And I just thought that was fascinating how, you get there early and you're like, okay, I can charge my phone. And from then on, I'll be able to, you know, do my little 5 hour shift and go back to the place. But nope, that 3 hours in, that curveball was thrown your way. Hey, can you stay later? I was like, yeah, sure. And you're like, okay, when he said later, it's probably gonna be like another hour, maybe 2 hours, but it just kept going and going and going. I said, hey, no complaints for me. Let's see how far this will stretch out. Seriously, I just keep having that fantasy of like, what if every shift was like that? Like again, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday, you go over there, clean everything for like 7 or 8 hours. Man, I would be so much more like astute, And the one thing I've always tried to show these people, even the ones that work up there that I don't really care that much for, and trust me, that group has stayed consistently a few people, is that I am reliable. You tell me, hey, this day you need me here at this hour, I show up at that hour. I've only been late one time, and that was on my first day because I underestimated the traffic. But ever since then, has not happened once. Um, because, like I said, I take work seriously. I remember those 11 months of having no job very vividly. It's like a ghost just haunting me. It's like, hey, remember that time where you were afraid every time you bought something of how much littler money you would have, and there was like no income, and you were getting charged this amount by this relative, and all that stuff is still just in my mind because it was a really there were highlights of that period, I guess, but just I really started to believe you won't find anything, and that's why I said April of last year was one of the most miserable periods I've probably ever had because it's you just pushing yourself to try getting hired somewhere, no matter how hard you try, no matter how many places you type stuff in and go drive here, all over the damn state. Nothing materializes, and you get sick of it. You get pissed off, and that's why when that thing popped off at the start of the following month, I just said to hell with it. I wasn't going to drive myself crazy over other people's decision not to hire me. I'm not their hands, I'm not their fingers. I can't make them, pull the lever in my direction. Uh so when this place did, I said, "Hey, they're not going to regret it." Like I said, 8 months. and there have been some curveballs, but we're seeing it through. Today was the yesterday, and today was definitely not a curveball, though. It was a damn sprinkle of hope, I guess you could say. Man, extra hours are always so nice. The only time I was able to get that without like purposely seeking out is that one day, because I've been before, a lot of these jobs they have these hours that like fluctuate. One day at the last place I worked, I think I was supposed to come in at 11 a.m. or 12 in the afternoon, and because again the hours switch so much, I came in probably around 9 or 10. By the time I left, it was like 9 or 10 hours of working, and boy, I felt like falling over. Man, I was. It's really funny. I was thinking about last week where I came in there to get my usual thing where I ordered two of the same item, and one of the managers took my order, and it was like the price was halved, and it's already halved, so it's like halved even further. And I was like, "Well, did you take it correctly?" And because I'm asking that so that I don't have to get back in line, order another one, or do any other crazy stuff. And he said that the meal was on him because I was always available to assist with one of the what he called harder tasks that was there, and I was touched. So in working with him again yesterday and this morning, as he was saying that he appreciated me, I said, "Hey, I appreciated what you did last week," and I told him I wouldn't forget it. Little stuff like that sticks with me because it's like I truly don't expect that from anyone uh, ever. So the few times where you get it, it resonates with you. At least for me, anyway. Like I said, I don't pretend to be some you infallible figure, but there are things that catch me off guard sometimes, and they're not always in a bad way. Like I certainly wasn't expecting an 8 hour shift today, but you know, I I got it, and I'm not complaining. I know I cut my finger at one point. Let me see if I can show it. Quality is probably not that good. It should be. Let's see. Ow, 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 ow. I'm trying to see if you guys can see it. Probably not. But it's like like right around here. Why are you wearing gloves? Maybe because my hands sting and hurt from the multiple cuts they take as I clean things. I still have a scar from I guess earlier in the must be earlier this month. Let me see if you can see it. Yeah, it's visible. Not the greatest quality, but you can see like that part right up there. Yeah, yeah. Why are you wearing gloves? Why are you wearing gloves? Why are you wearing gloves? I tell you, that's always going to be the funniest thing to me about this site and just like the whole you can't win no matter what you do aspect of stuff. Where first they criticized my hands when they could see them. Oh, they're modeled in vain. Then when they can't see them, why are you wearing gloves? Oh boy, like with some people, you can never. It's never enough, no matter what you do. God, no victory here, folks. Only ridiculousness. But yeah, that cut, it didn't hurt as much as the one that's on the upper part of that finger. Like I said, I just have so many little like injuries from up there. I just kind of get used to 'em. There's a guy actually, I mentioned him before. He's like the local celebrity because he was in this music video that had I think 100 million views. Um, to where a lot of people like recognize him when they come up there. And they had him washing stuff one of the days where I was off, I guess. And I saw him yesterday and his whole it's like his hand had about three different band-aids. And I was like, what happened? Are you okay? Like, because I'm not used to usually a person will have like one on, maybe two on the same hand, right? Or finger, I should say. Seeing that many of them kind of like I guess I could say it was like visually off-putting. And he was like, "Oh yeah, I cut my hand." I said, "What happened?" "Oh, when I was trying to wash the stuff like you do, the pieces were cutting me." It just surprised me because I normally have like one cut if I have one at all during one of the shifts. So I don't want to say I have stronger skin or no fake macho nonsense, but like I can certainly feel the burning on that finger right there. But you probably would never see me with several band-aids on. That's why it scared me. I was like, he did what did they have him grabbing? But no, there are people there that I like, a lot of guys that I get along with, and he's one of them. I used to have this joke that I was going to get his number, and then I could send him messages and praise his glory and whatnot. Just little gag I had with him, and I remember he has this friend that works in the same area, and they both have had different times where they've assisted me with washing stuff. And I said to him, his friend, I said, "Hey, you're the only suitable replacement for my favorite celebrity. I mean, having you here instead of him is like trading in Michael Jackson for Frank Sinatra." That's why I said it's so interesting how like we talk about like the poison of the different chicks that work at these jobs, but I've never had the type of issues with other men that I have with these girls. Like I don't know what to make of it. There's a lot of guys where I can just make it like a running gag, and maybe there can be like some light teasing, and um, I just that's why I said it's just so sad that like you talk to these guys, no problem, we're all getting along, but man, when those girls start showing up, you're always wondering, is this the one that's gonna knife me? Is this the one that's going to try to sit by me and then say that she felt uncomfortable somehow? You're always just kind of like on edge with, and I've been like that ever since February. I'm never letting another one of them do that again. It has been March, April, May, June. It's been 5 months, and I do not care. Actually, no, it's the like actual reporting or whatever was in March. So beginning of March, let's see. April, May, June, July. 4 months, and I do not care. I don't care if it's been the third of a year. I will it could be a whole year or 3 years, and you will not see me get over that. Just like in making the weird men in their Discord leader video, I was gonna say that there's like a guy that was talking about he didn't like the way I looked and saying that I'm stupid for expecting a good dialogue out of Discord or so. And I said, what's interesting is that so again, there's like weird antagonistic guys in computer, whatever. But like the guys I actually try to become friendly with so far, again, this is only counting the period of this past month or so. I haven't had any falling outs with any of them. It's been like 5, 6 different guys. Um, but this is why I said, like, people, the truth is this. In real life, there are horrible, terrible, lousy, atrocious women. On Twitter, Instagram, Discord, YouTube, there are horrible, terrible, atrocious women. And there are also some men that are pretty bad on these different sites as well. But I'm still perplexed as to how, when I just speak to another man, as long as I keep it cordial, as long as I stay on whatever the initial topic was, sometimes maybe deviate a little bit, there are no problems between us. I find that so interesting because the thing that these guys try to do is they tell you, "Oh, there's something wrong with you. That's why you get this result. Oh, you must have done something." It's like I don't really, because like I said, this is not about I said like the romance stuff is just dead to me. So this is not about trying to woo some woman with my exotic personality. It's literally just I do believe for the most part I speak to them the same way I speak to these guys. How are you doing? So just basic courtesy type stuff. Maybe I'll get more specific if we have something in common. And that's why I said it's so interesting how man after man after man, no problem, no issue. And as I said before, most of these sites I probably would like a hell of a lot more if I only spoke to guys. Um, like my job is infinitely more enjoyable when I just act like the females that work there. It's like hi and bye, right? Maybe you have like one or two that you say hello or whatever to. Um, but it would if I just don't engage in any specific kind of thing with any of them, I feel much better. And I still can't quite get the phenomenon. It's like, oh yeah, you're stupid for thinking that you can have a good dialogue with somebody on Discord, but I've met multiple guys on Discord that I've had good interactions with for years. A guy from Japan who I met on Discord 5 years ago. I am still on good terms. We don't speak as often. He's busy with real life stuff and whatever, but never any issue. Um, you know, I mean, I can probably name 5 or 6 different guys I have spoken to for literal years with little to no issue at all. I can't say that about chicks. Like the average shelf life for one of these girls is probably about anywhere from a few weeks to maybe a month and a half. And then, they get mad at you over something and throw you away. The only one that lasted longer was it's been a while since I talked about her, Lady Lack and Logic. But that was because I'd say she was an outlier in the sense that I was like very determined that I was going to just kind of play it close to the chest, sort of If she doesn't want to message me for a month, whatever, that kind of thing. I know she went to another state and had like 90 different excuses for why she didn't reach out to me. But I find that so fascinating how there's all these different guys where, again, maybe we don't talk every day or every week or every month, but we're far from enemies. We're not opponents. We don't despise each other. We're not sitting there actively going, I hope something bad is happening to him. To hell with him. I just think that's so interesting. Because as I said before, relationships are supposed to be something you enjoy, that you like. And there are multiple guys I like talking to, I like speaking with. Um, we have some set of common interests. And I guess I just wish people would stop, but again, never an honest word, right? I wish people would stop pretending that just because you're not the thing that these modern women want, and honestly, most of the time they don't even know what they want. Um, there's like something wrong with you, or you can't, you have like some kind of problem. It's like I don't buy that at all. I can't believe it. Because if you were so incapable of having a positive relationship with anyone, how do you get along with these other guys so well? And it goes back to the same problem that we've experienced for a while now, which is that everyone wants to live in this idea, this really screwed up. I don't even know if you call it archaic. I'd say it's just backwards belief that a man's value comes from his supposed appeal to women. Like they're the only thing that matters, right? Attracting them, getting them to talk to you, that's like the sole significant thing you can do. I find it so gross. But again, people have allowed themselves to just fall for a lot of stuff that's not indicative of something I would support or endorse. I talked about having this coworker who insulted me even after I'd given him a ride home, because that shows you how loyal he is. And he was talking about how he believed that maybe if he had his own car or a dog or his own place, then he would be more attractive to women. I was thinking, like, you know, again, if he weren't such a jerk to me, I probably would be much more sympathetic to the idea that there is a running theme of men convincing themselves that there's something wrong with them because of women or whatever. But I just think it's so sad, because you could truly, in your heart of hearts, in your mind, in every action that you take, have no desire to date a single woman you speak to at all. And they will sit there, and because you're nice to them, because you're asking them how they're doing, because you're just being friendly. Do you like me? He must like me. I mentioned there was a girl on this one server, and we were getting along pretty well. I'm like, hey, this is nice. And then all of a sudden, she's like, "Are you flirting with me?" And I just put my hand over my face, and I said directly to her, "Look, if you feel uncomfortable, we don't have to speak. I'm not trying to make you feel anything that you don't want to experience." And she said that she didn't feel uncomfortable, but it's all part of that same thing where it's like the dialogue's going pretty good. You and this person are mostly getting along, and then here they go ruining it. Man, I can feel that hand twisting right now. Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out if I want to do my strategy of trying to get a second job. I don't know because I keep weighing the pros and cons. What I am seeing with the current one is that they seem to be getting more consistent in terms of you're going to work these 4 days a week or these 5 days a week, and it's going to be these times instead of which I prefer so much over that fluctuating crap. Like I really despise that so much. Um, you know, if you want to use somebody 4 days a week, then use them 4 days a week. Don't sit here and put in the, maybe we'll use you Monday, but then not Tuesday or Wednesday. Like, this is stupid. So they have been being more consistent, which I do like. My theory is that because I looked and they're not having me close or like have any more of those like late night shifts. So my theory was that they probably are going to always have me come in that middle afternoon period, right? And then if somebody calls out sick or is like, I don't feel like going to work today, go away, then they'll schedule me as like a backup plan. Like, okay, well, we know you're supposed to be here from, for example, like today, 5 to 10, but can you stay longer or whatever? Like I said, I don't shed any tears when people don't want to come to work. They want to sit there and jeopardize their job by not coming on the days where they're. I'm serious. I just some of these people act like they have no idea something is going to happen before, like until the moment before it does. Oh, it's my uh, grandparents' 50th wedding anniversary. Can somebody fill in for me? That's what one of the guys wrote. It's like, did you really have no idea that it was like that was coming up in a week or 2 weeks? Just you had no clue. You forgot they'd been married for 50 years, but thought that was next year. That's why I said people just. Hmm. Oh man, I have a doctor's appointment today. I can't come to work. Okay, was the appointment made yesterday? I mean, you didn't know about this before? My sister is coming to California from Georgia tomorrow, and I have to pick her up from the airport. Okay. You didn't know she was coming in tomorrow? That she didn't tell you a week in advance, a few days earlier? Nothing. Just. That's why I said people are amazing to me. Just in terms of the types of stuff they can completely skim over and their, logic or lack thereof. I mean, oh, I would have come to work today, but uh my dad decided that he was going to open a restaurant and I had to be there on opening day. Did he just decide this 24 hours ago? That's what I said. Like I just don't know how these people think. And that's why I said that in working somewhere where there's a lot of younger people, the theory I have is the immaturity and also the fact that a lot of them are not like they're not working this job as like a make or break. They're just kind of like, yeah, I'm out of school for the summer, so I guess I can go somewhere and work there 3 days a week, 4 days a week, be busy with something. Um, the theory I had is that since for a lot of them this is not make or break, they have no problem showing up to work late, calling out sick at the last minute, all the little like dumb stuff. Like I said before, mixed signals queen acts does not act like someone who is worried about working. I mean, she'll miss all these days or come in late, and then when that thing of like she gets close to getting axed, suddenly she starts coming on time and being around, and it's such a joke. Hmm. But I said it's easier to do that kind of stuff when mommy and daddy are paying everything. I guess I'll come to work today for the first day out of the last four. Her favorite excuse: I don't feel good. I don't feel good. I even said at one point, I was like, yeah, she's sick, all right. It's not in the way that the managers expected. God, what a character. All I can say is I'm satisfied that I don't have anything to do with her anymore. Her and her passive aggressive nonsense can go ride a kite for all I care, or play in traffic. Because she is such a joke. But no, I'm hoping that I'll be able to do one of the documentary parts over the next few days, the next few weeks, because the script for Nixon Part One is completed. It's finished. It's done. I um, I just have to get some, just set aside a few days to like edit it and get all the pictures together and record it. Then after that, I'll probably either do Nixon Part Two or LBJ Part Seven. I just keep imagining Johnson Part Seven in my head. It's going to be a really difficult video to make. That's all I can say, because in my mind I'm thinking it's going to be all of 64, and I mean, like when I just think of it, I start picturing how we're going to cover it. Where first you start with the well, you start with the let us continue speech and the Warren Commission, and um, then just feel like that's like the main two things for 63. But then when you get 64, it's like you have this election year and the Civil Rights Act. Like I said, I don't see how that thing doesn't end up being at least 2 hours. Oh, and I even get to mention Gulf of Tonkin, which is that's like the beginning stages of Vietnam for him. So it's gonna be a wild ride. Mm. man. Documentaries. What am I gonna do with them? Sometimes I ask myself that question, and I'm baffled. I can't answer it. I don't know. I said before I make little lists of what I want. Um, but even those are mostly just a guide. Like I don't have a specific, just this one will be done next, and that one, and this one, and that one. Like in my mind, I go, okay, if I don't do Nixon Part 2 after Nixon Part 1, then I'll probably just go back to Johnson. And then if I don't do that, and I would like be mainly turned off from doing it from the length because it'll be long. I probably would then go back to FDR for Part 2. But even that isn't a guarantee. I just know it'd be one of those three. Although, again, still trying to start Carter before October. So let's see. We have August and September. We only have 2 months. Wow. Where's that book? I can actually show it on here. I wanted it so badly that I compromised one of my most prized values. I always like to get hardcovers, but for this, I got the soft cover. And it's funny because this book is considered like the cumulative best single biography of Carter. My biggest problem with it so far, because I was able to get, let's see, about 400 pages in. Biggest issue is that the post presidency is just too short. Like you can't take somebody who was out of office longer, not only longer than any American president, but for 40 years, and just be like, oh yeah, here's that entire thing told in like what 60 pages, 70 pages. Carter's post presidency, if it's ever covered the way it should be, if you do a book on it, it's got to be a minimum of at least 1,000 pages, maybe split into 2 volumes. Like it's 40 years covering a lot of different issues. I'm trying to think how long would Carter be. Like with Nixon, I've got the idea that part 1 is his life up until, finishing his tenure in the American military, I guess in the Navy. Part 2 takes us through his congressional years to being, Eisenhower's running mate in 52. And then part 3, again, this is all like just off of how I've lined this stuff up. Probably a majority of the VP years, with part 4 then being like, I'd say somewhere between the last 2 years as vice president and then running for president against Kennedy, and then maybe part 5 is the gubernatorial campaign in California. And those like years of just kind of like being on the outskirts of his party's, machinations. And then part 6 would be his comeback. Again, this is just going off of like early speculation. Just like I've been thinking about if I ever did an Obama one, how long would it take to get to him being president? And I said, well, maybe three parts. Because, like I said, the main political role he had outside of being president was a Senate career that wasn't even a full term. Now, of course, Nixon had the same thing before, being vice president. He was senator for less than one full term. But again, he was vice president, congressman. I mean, he was in other roles that were of significance. But no, that's the part I find the most interesting. Just how long would it take to with each one to get to the most coveted period? Everyone seems to round out at about 4 to 5 parts. Like, I know for, if I were to just use the Gene Edward Smith book, FDR would be president after, I think, part 3. So, yeah, there's a lot of preluding with this stuff. It would be nice to do another one of these and get, like, several parts into it. Just so I can feel like I'm getting some more progress on these than just, oh, here's part 1 of this person and then part 6 of somebody else. It's interesting too because I said before the way it was supposed to go is that I was going to have LBJ part 1 through 3, and then part 4, and then you're going to have FDR part 1 and 2, then probably Johnson part 5 and 6, and FDR part 3 and 4. But I just said, you know what? People were barely receptive to FDR. Let me just go back to the one that I actually like doing more. People don't watch something, then you don't have a reason to make it. Mm. Like I said, I'm sure after hypothetically finishing Johnson, Nixon, and Carter, I'll probably go back to Roosevelt. It would make a lot of sense to still like keep him in the peripheral because if I finish those three, uh, the next two would be Truman and Eisenhower. It is just so crazy just thinking of this stuff. Also, one of the things that's getting on my nerves more and more is that we live in an era where information is just like so readily available to where a movie can come out, it won't even be 24 hours and people are like, did you see it, did you see it, did you here's a spoiler, this is in there, did you know about this, did you know about that? It's like, what a bunch of jerks. Like, this guy asked me on was it Friday, yeah, did you see Deadpool and Wolverine? I was like, no, I truthfully forgot it even came out because like I knew it was coming out at some point, but they couldn't even get me to sit through the trailer. Mm. So I was like, okay, well, you know what? You guys can have your movie. But the movie comes out. I'm in that same stupid server, probably yesterday, day before yesterday. Uh, Guys, in Deadpool and Wolverine, this happens, and the people are like, "Shut up!" And even as someone who's never been the most spoiler angry individual, like it doesn't bother me to know about basic key plot elements. Most of the time, I just thought it was so obnoxious that you go into this server and you take a new movie that a lot of people are going to want to watch, and you reveal what you thought they didn't know, or like it's just being a jerk. Because there's literally no reason to do that other than just trying to upset the people who actually want to see it for themselves and experience the surprise or shock that you got. Hey, did you hear in Deadpool and Wolverine, this character goes to another universe? It's like, okay, great. Thanks for letting us know that. We couldn't just watch the movie for ourselves. And guys, it's like the movie hasn't even been out for a week, and people just spread it around like locusts. Oh my God, did you hear about Deadpool and Wolverine? Did you hear about Deadpool and Wolverine? It's like, yeah, I did. Now, can you actually let me go see Deadpool and Wolverine? And then the biggest, craziest news was from San at Comic Con. What was that? A few days ago. That Avengers 5 has been renamed Avengers Doomsday, and what's the other one? Secret Wars is still, I think, keeping the same name, but that we're going to have Robert Downey Jr. playing Doctor Doom. Um, I say, isn't it kind of crazy to think that with RDJ, you had him play and churn out one of the most iconic performances in all of cinema, right? Played this character for 11 years. And here we are, 5 years after his departure, after Marvel has seen projects crash that after they got full of themselves, thought they were too big to fail, and they have failed. You now have resorted to resurrecting this actor, not as the character he played, but as one of the most iconic supervillains, period. Um, for I guess 2 movies where presumably he'll have some central role, and then I guess we'll get a real alternate version of Doom at some point. It's weird. RDJ as Doctor Doom. They're gonna have Chris Evans as Magneto. It's so crazy to me. All the actors you could get to play Doom, and you've got to recycle one that we thought was done with Marvel. We thought he was done with Marvel. He said, "Hey, you know what? I bowed out. I'm finished." Of course, I've said before I would have liked to have seen Iron Man 4 set between Endgame and or Infinity War, set in that during that time skip between Infinity War and Endgame, where it like explains how he and Pepper finally made up, finally decided that they would be together while they're living in the woods. Um, you know, showing her about the rescue armor, just basic stuff that I didn't that Endgame got to skip over because off screen development, yay! And that's what's so surreal to me about the snap. Like 5 years of just not existing. 5 years of people just being gone. Like they just died, right? Without leaving a body behind, just were erased. And even in having something as cool as that, it's so underutilized. Like I said, you watch No Way Home. Um, I didn't even think the snap gets mentioned. Have to remind myself if it does. I don't remember it getting. I know it gets mentioned in Far From Home, but that's really crazy because it's such an interesting story idea, right? The premise of how does the world operate with half of its population gone, half of the people who made it work just no longer being around. But we really, like I said, Endgame has this idea that's kind of cool, but it just works so quick to undo everything after giving us this time skip where we really don't get to see that much of the world. And even a lot of the stuff that's been released since then hasn't really touched on what is it like to be in this world where half the people weren't a thing for half a decade. Look at No Way Home. Oh man, what effect did the snap have on Spider-Man's life? Oh, he disappeared, and so coincidentally, so did everyone else that he cared about. Yay! That's why I said this stuff just gets weirder and weirder. Again, what's the point of having cool story ideas if you don't do anything with them? It just seems kind of pointless to me. I'm still trying to figure out what the hell they were thinking with Doctor Doom Man or Doctor or was it Iron Doom? It's just weird. Like I said, Marvel really wanted the $1 billion movie. They would either bring back RDJ as Iron Man, as his actual character, or have him do a flashback movie, right? Iron Man 4. I guarantee that would do a hell of a lot better than probably anything else they've churned out in the last few years. But no, we're gonna bring him back playing this villain that in all seriousness, Doom does deserve to have an original actor. Like he doesn't need a recycled one who already plays whatever. I just don't see the point of this stuff. But there's a lot of stuff from Marvel that is not making sense to me. Hey, look at new Blade film. Oh, cool! It's going to be a Blade 4 and have Wesley Snipes coming back. Oh no, new actor, new continuity. Isn't that funny? We can't get Wesley Snipes to come back and play Blade again in a better send off for the character than that third movie that everybody despises. But we can get Hugh Jackman to keep playing Wolverine over and over and over and over and over again. What you talking about? Madam Web is like amongst one of the best movies ever created from Marvel. Definitely going to be remembered for years to come. I think it will be remembered as a way to destroy whatever goodwill you were trying to create. I mean, Sony is really about to see a financial just like implosion because Venom 3, as far as they've told us, last Venom movie, Venom the Last Dance. So when that comes out and makes, let's say, 200 million, they have nothing left. There will be no Morbius 2, there will be no Madam Web 2. Craven is probably going to, be on the lower end of money as well. So Sony's a really bizarre company. That's all I can say. They're allergic to money. They don't want to make anything that can actually make a profit for them. That's why they had to go and re-release old Spider-Man movies to try and squeeze out some coins. Think about that. Spider-Man 2002 made more money with $5 tickets than brand new Madam Web made. That's all you need to know. That's a mic drop. People would rather go see something that came out 20, 17, 15 years ago than something that just came out. No, the reason I gave the stream this name is because so again, I'm still going to do the video Weird Men in their Discord leader. I work the next few days, so I won't be able to you know get as into it. Um, I'm just making sure I have all the screenshots and whatever. But the script is mostly done. Um, so in the last installment of this series, we talked about a woman who thought I was her ex-boyfriend. Her evidence was really flimsy, hinged mostly on coincidences. Your account was made on this day, just like weird stuff, right? And I really thought that when that started, okay, if I have enough proof, if I show her that I am not this guy via evidence, right? Like, hey, look, this is what I look like, this is what I sound like. I noticed you making a sequel to that last stream. Yeah, I try to have titles that mean something. Um, like I was pretty serious about like I'm finished being the thing I had from last week. Like just when I got that second parking ticket, I was like, man, I can't win. Now my job, to my surprise, gave me a full like multiple more hours than I was expecting today because somebody called in sick or they were understaffed or whatever. So I was just sitting up there, just just like, oh, I thought I was gonna leave at 10, but I'm still here at 1 something. Hey, fine by me. um so listen, I got to a point where I was just sick of her and I said, look, this is stupid. I wrote her a message. So the last thing she had sent me was because I asked, are we done? She went, yes, unless you stop harassing me, stop taking things so personally, go to therapy, but I don't think any of that will happen. So peace, peace. And when I read this, I didn't know what to say, right, for days. But I was talking to somebody. I was like, let's have a little bit of fun here. So I said, I just spoke to a therapist. They said I'm not harassing you and that I was a good conversationalist who ran into a toxic, cruel, and narcissistic woman. Now, after I send her this message, and this is after a few days of me just like not responding, she blocks me. And I'm like, okay, well, that's it, right? That's the end of it. But no, that was not the end of it. After she blocks me, She unblocks me and then goes, "Sure you," and this is in cap blocks like she's screaming, "Sure you did." And I go, "I thought you were done with me. Keep believing I would care about some internet stranger's opinion. What stranger? Get a life, bro. Okay, anything else? You literally unblocked me to insult me as if it wasn't enough of an insult that you pretended to like me for days just to ruin everything with your BS allegation." She says, she writes, "You're the only one insulting and harassing me here. Laugh my, blank off." And I go, and I put with a question mark, "I'm harassing you?" She goes, "Seriously." And then her boyfriend's name, "Move on." Just actually, no, one more thing. You blocked me and then unblocked me to keep arguing. I guess you like, and I put in quotations, harassment. And she goes, "Oh, right. You reminded me of something very important." After this, she either makes it to where she won't accept messages from people on her friend list that are not on her friend list, that they're like in the same server, whatever, or blocks me again. It's one of those two things. I don't know what the order was, but like she does it in some order that like makes to where I can't say anything else to her. But here's what's interesting. So she called me the ex-boyfriend's name again. And I mentioned that what had originally happened was she was convinced I was him. And then after I showed her my face and said, "I'm not your ex-boyfriend," she's like, "Well, I don't know if you actually know him or not. It's your word against mine." So she went from believing I was him to then believing I was someone who knew him or was friends with him or was working with him or whatever, to then again believing I'm him. But when this happened, I said, you know what? It's such an unprecedented situation. It's so weird. It's so crazy. And I've said before that like there's still a part of me that can't believe this happened, right? That you would just message someone because they like to write just as you like to write, talk to mostly about writing, and after a few days, they're claiming that you're their ex partner. Definitely never heard of this kind of thing before. What in the world? But get this, there's a plot twist. Now, like I said, she called me the ex boyfriend's name at least twice and spoke to me as if I were him. So I said, I wonder what he would think of this. I wonder if I can find him. And all it took was just typing her name in that same server, typing in the name she called or whatever, and there it was. So I send him a friend request, and he says, hold on, I'm scrolling up right now. And listen, you might say it's bad or whatever to involve. My rationale is that from the way she makes it sound, she doesn't talk to him anymore, and I feel like it's unfair for me to get the brunt of, I guess, blowback for something I didn't even do. So it's like I at least want to hear the other side of the story if I can. He goes, "Hello, who are you?" I go, "Hi, I'm reaching out to you for a reason." He goes, "What's up?" "Your ex-girlfriend thought I was you." And I say her name in the middle of that. He goes, "Oh, so that's why her sister is messaging me." And I go, "This started a few weeks ago. She put together some coincidences and concluded that I was either you or working with you." He goes, "Wait, why did she think you were me?" And then he responds to that last message, the expletive. And then I go, "Hold on, I'm screenshotting." He says, "I mean, it was a bad break, but to think she thought that I made a fake account is just something else." And when I send him the screenshot of her going, "Blank, we know it's you," that original message, right, of her saying that she knew, he goes, "What in God's green earth? What in the self centered S word is this?" Hey, listen, so I'm not going to read the whole thing, but we had a very lovely conversation. When he saw the other message, he put, "Oh my blank God, I definitely dodged a tactical nuke with her." So what he explains, he apologized on her behalf. I apologized on her behalf because I said, when you're dealing with animals, you have to take accountability for them. She's legitimately, I'm going to be real. She needs a bit of help, and I really wish she gets it. Let me just say she projects a lot. I will admit I have some issues to work on, but well, she ultimately showed her true colors at the end. She was originally sweet, not gonna lie, like really freaking sweet, and I absolutely loved her to hell and back. She had her issues, but well, I figured, don't we all? I had mine, but I kind of wasn't the best at communicating. Yeah, she ultimately did show herself and her hand over time. I just kind of got stuck in the I can fix her phase, but ultimately the true breakup catalyst was on me because in a stupid argument I said it wasn't a need for me to call her. With that, things went ballistic. We broke up, but it led to a whole thing with her ex best friend and my best friend peeling back the curtain and showing that, well, she wasn't the greatest and was cruel at times. The dude had no idea how crazy she was. Oh, he found out eventually. But I want you to think about this. And by the way, our conversation went so good because I had retracted my friend request. I was like, I sent it mainly so that I could speak to him. Um, by the end of that conversation, that original like back and forth between me and him, he sent me a friend request. So now we're like on each other's friend list and like speaking. We bonded. Oh, hey, I got a new friend, and all it took was his ex girlfriend thinking I was him. He said he dodged the tactical nuke. I'm just imagining just this giant nuke with her face on. He's like, whoa. Hold on, let me see. Where's the? This was a pretty long dialogue. I'm not gonna read the whole thing. But when I told him that she referenced them being in London at one point, like the whole, your account was made on June the 10th and we were in London. You think I'm stupid? That message. He's like, well, I suppose you can understand why I'm glad we broke up. I said, trust me, I'd be the last person to not get wanting to get away from one of these animals. Makes perfect sense to me. How does it feel living rent free in someone's head? He goes, yeah, just leave her alone, please, man. She needs literal help. And not gonna lie, she has a therapist, but she needs to work on her anxieties a hell of a lot more. Yeah, she keeps saying I need to get a life and get offline or whatever. I'm trying to be reasonable and get her to see it, but it doesn't seem like it's working. I told him it's just pure delusion. Who has the time to make all of these accounts, some of which are years old, just for her? And his response to that was, reminds me of an argument she and I had on Valentine's Day. She had the stupidest paranoia that ruined the day. Let me tell you, I am not ashamed to say what it took her to back down was me crying as we talked. Her paranoia is limitless and she really needs help. This is proof that a lot of these chicks have something mentally wrong with them and the things they say have so much projection. But you don't think it's interesting that like she kept saying, I don't know if you might not remember, but like in that original message where she accused me of being him, she was like, you need help, right? Go see a therapist. That was the other thing she wrote in the reply before she blocked me the first time. Um, but then here's her ex-boyfriend who is admitting that like she has a therapist and she needs even more help because of how just crazy she is. Remember, this isn't some random guy on the computer. Oh, I spoke to you in some DM calls. He went, he's originally from the US, I guess, what he told me. He went over to that foreign country that she's in and stayed with her, dated her, was whatever with her, saw the craziness, and it was like, yeah, this is getting kind of nuts. Goodbye. So you get where, like, when he says it, it's a hell of a lot more legitimate than, oh, random internet person is like saying, I need to go to psychiatrist. Like, this is her ex partner, a guy that she dated, he said, for 7 to 8 months, saw her in person, thought she was really nice at the start of it. And then once she started revealing what she actually was, he was like, I think I'm going to. I just find that really funny because, they always say that there's something wrong with guys. When you can't get a woman, there's something wrong with you. Dude, if I do a video on her, I might not even write a script. I'll just like sit in front of the camera and be like, so there was this woman I met and we were talking about writing and it was going pretty nice until she thought I was somebody completely different from who I actually am. She is so narcissistic, and yeah, that's true. He is her ex, so what he says about her has so much more validity. Yeah, man, like it took him crying for her to stop acting crazy. He said, because I mentioned, I've told him, well, I truly don't mean to give you any additional anxiety. I just thought you should know you should know your ex has lost her mind. And he wrote, you're cool, man. You messaging me is clearing up a lot with her sister attacking me over her, though she's being quite restrained, honestly. So it's good on her for that, I suppose. So the inference I took from this is that his ex girlfriend, in thinking that I was him, told her sister, and then her sister was messaging him, like, why are you bothering her again? Why are you messing with her again? He's like, what the hell are you talking about? And then when I'm like, hey, look, they thought I was you. Oh, that's why her sister was sending me those crazy messages. So it destroys narrative idea of always being the random guy's fault. Well, they love blaming men for everything. We're supposed to just go lay on the cross at this point. When I said, because he mentioned that she lost her best friend over being crazy. And he said, I just assumed it was another of her issues that, well, she had a rough upbringing and I loved her genuinely. So I wanted to stick it out with her. And I go, well, many people have hard backgrounds, but they don't go around treating others like crap, especially someone they would enter a relationship with. Also, that last message I screenshot was her flip flopping back to believing I was you. And then he asked, what, she stopped believing it for a bit. And that's when I explained, first she thought I was him, then she thought I wasn't, and she thought I was him again. And then he sends me this gif of a man taking his finger and like putting it in his mouth to, look like a, yeah. Um, that's me at this point. Like I just give up. Um, I said it. He says, "Well, my opinion of her somehow got even lower." Right. That's what he put at the end of that gif, and I said, "It's like a mix of delusion and paranoia. No matter how much evidence is shown, she will die on this hill." He goes, "Yeah, that was about our whole relationship. I don't know how we lasted like 7 to 8 months together." I said, I guess when you love someone, you can look past many of their faults and keep it going until there's a point of no return. And then I explained how I found his name. Uh, oh, and that's when he mentions like the whole past traumas thing, and I bring up the coworker because that's one of the defining past traumas for me. Um, But yeah, he apologizes on her behalf. I apologize on her behalf. It's this whole thing is just so crazy to me. And I explained to him, I said, I was so shocked by the again, like the attempt to make me out to be this her ex on a new account trying to speak to her. Cause it's like, I didn't like, I'll show the screenshots if I do a video on her. All I talked about was writing. I sent her some of my drawings. Nothing romantic whatsoever. In fact, I actually left her alone for a little bit because I think I mentioned that she said some crap about she doesn't do VCs with people and only feels comfortable doing it with her boyfriend and her sister and her sisters. It was like, yeah, that's dumb, right? Um, but man, when she dropped that bombshell, what 2, 3 Thursdays ago, she never went back. And I had a feeling that if she blocked me or signaled that she was like done with me, I was gonna be like, you know what? Let me hear from the guy. I want to see what he has to say. I had this gut feeling that the guy was probably more level-headed, more normal, uh, more reasonable, and so far it seems that that was correct. Yeah, this is all caused by her crazy conspiracy theories and accusations. I'll say it is beneficial. You found him to talk about this problem. Well, again, it's like at this point, I have nothing to lose because she thinks I'm him anyway. So I might as well see what he what his opinion was. Definitely more reasonable. Yeah, the guy even apologized on her behalf despite how she made him feel. You DM'd me without ever messaging me in the server. It's like, okay, some people there's another girl that's in that server that likes to draw. I DM'd her without ever, because she had in her bio drawings and whatever. So I just sent her a message and I was like, hey, here's some of my drawings. Can I see some of yours? It's just so weird, man. You didn't message me in a particular way in which I would prefer, so you're my ex-boyfriend on a new account. My favorite message from him is the one where, like, when he first sees the screenshot of her accusing me of being him, and he's like, "What in the self-centered blank is this?" I like how she said that we type similar, and I was like, I was looking at his messages, and I said, that broad that was in that Discord women video. There's one thing she said that was true, and it is that I am one of few people. I'm starting to believe the only person on that whole stupid site that always puts a period at the end of their sentences. Like, I don't know anyone else I've spoken to that does that, where they just, how are you? And there's a question mark, and then I went here, period. So even though he doesn't barely use any periods or, like he'll use question marks, but he doesn't, again, like mostly just sentences without that, punctuation mark at the end of it. She still in her mind is like, you and him type similarly, so you are him. And dude, you saw that like I was bending over backwards to dispel this. I was like, this is what I look like. This is what I sound like. I said the video of me sitting in my car. I'm not your ex-boyfriend. And hey, we can VC if you want to hear my voice. Wouldn't do that. I mean, if you already think I'm him, what the hell do you have to lose? I feel really bad for him because it's like I only had to deal with her over the computer for like what 2, 3 weeks. Imagine 7 to 8 months of that. I guess it's just something most people are very casual and used to doing when typing. Well, yeah, but it's like this is one of her. I wouldn't even care to mention it, but one of her main sticking points is you and him type similarly. And I'm looking at this, I'm like, not really. I mean, like, he's not misspelling every other word like some people. I know how she types with the, by the way, where's the message? Because it's just so funny seeing two men admit, like, talk about how crazy some woman is, especially when one of those two dated her. Like, where is it? Hold on, I can look through here. Oh yeah, I said it's so weird that she tries to pretend she's being like messed with or whatever, but then giggling through the whole interaction like she's somehow winning or in control. That message I screenshot makes her look like an anime villain. And he wrote, and he puts in cap locks like always. She always loved anime villains, so yeah, checks out. And I wrote, I guess she modeled her personality after them. That whole interaction on Thursday reminded me of when an anime villain thinks they've trapped the hero or caught on to something and announced their evil plan. I'm still in great shock about the entire situation, how she exploded on you. I'm telling you, man, those first 3 days, I don't want to like gas her up, but they were nice, right? She was talking to me about writing, um, different like literary tools. Oh, this character knows this person as good as they know themselves. They can give more insight when it like from when something's written from their perspective about this other person, and how she likes some of the drawings I'd sent her. And it's like this was a genuinely good dialogue. The only stuff she did that annoyed me was I don't do VCs. No, that's always stupid. No matter who does it, that's always dumb, and it's always dumb women that say that most of the time. Um, but again, besides that, it was a mostly okay, decent, enjoyable dialogue. So imagine my surprise. I'm at work. I look on my phone and I see 3 messages from her, and I'm like, okay, that's kind of weird because this is as I'm like going to take the trash out. And I go to sit down. It's hot. It's like 3 in the afternoon now, right? All the sweat pouring down my face. I'm like, okay, now I can rest and see what. Okay, talking. Okay, imagine calling your ex. Da, da, da. I was like, oh, maybe she's trying to vent. I go context blank. We know it's you. I'm like, huh? I remember when I did that end of 2022 stream, I was like, what can chicks do now that would be in any way shocking or surprising? Like I figured they had done everything. They proved me wrong. By the way, this is a side note. There was another girl who is I think she's a Twitch streamer. All the chicks want to be Twitch streamers. They sit there and they play some video game and then they're surprised when, them playing the game is like no different from anybody else playing it because they're not giving interesting commentary. It's just I have pretty voice and I sit on phone or whatever. So she has on her profile like I don't know what it's called, but it's like a link tree where it's just a bunch of different links to different accounts she has, like Instagram and not Instagram's not there, but just like just different stuff. One of the things on there is her Discord server, right? I'm like, okay, well, server's free to join. Anyone can join whatever. And I click the thing to join it, and I read through the rules. Be respectful. Da 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 da. Blah 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 blah. And dude, as I'm clicking to gain access to the server, all of a sudden it just vanishes in front of me. Like I'm no longer in it. I'm like, what the hell? And that's when I realized that she either kicked or banned me. And then she sends me some periods, dot, 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 like in a DM. And then I write, I didn't realize it was a crime to try joining your server. And then she blocks me. So think about that. Like you make your server something that is in your profile so that people can click on it and join it. and then you preemptively ban somebody after they joined it and did like didn't do anything. See, but it's like stuff like that. Like, listen, that's wait, but why did she decide to? I don't know. Literally, I joined the server. I agreed to the rules, and then all of a sudden, I'm out. And then she sends me because we're in this other server together, right? She sends me dot 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 dot, and I'm like, I didn't realize it was a crime to join your server, and then she blocks me. Dude, if you don't see why I tell you that these modern women have something wrong with them, and it's like, just, I, I don't know else to tell you. You would never in a million years see me make my server public, right? Like make a public server that I like link for people to just, hey, you want to join my server? Want to join my server? They agree to the rules, and then before they can even say anything, gone. Like Megumi, they literally knock you down before you can even begin to stand up. I go in there, I read through the rules, I agree because it's not like I'm to come in here and write anything crazy, whatever. Somebody I know them from this bigger server, so whatever, just whatever. And again, like just gone, just out. And man, I would kind of get it if like I did some surveillance thing, like I investigated. I went, hey buddy, can you give me a link to her server so I can join it? But I didn't do that. She has it publicly available for anyone to join. Anyone but Justin, right? Whatever. More insanity from the modern woman. She's insane in real life, she's insane online. It's stuff like this that makes you feel there isn't any hope even being friends with chicks. It's like she targeted you. Well, again, it's the insanity of it is that you're already in a server with me. I'm not bothering you. Yeah, we haven't really spoken that much, but that's mostly because in these different VCs, she barely says anything. She has her mic muted or she like says one word, two words. And it just doesn't make sense to me. That's how I'll say. It's weird. I don't think she targeted me. She just doesn't just is weird. Like chicks are just weird, like just a strange group of people. I didn't even get to mention this at my job because it's really hot over in California, right? It's like 80 degrees some days. They gave us some ice cream. They had vanilla, strawberry, chocolate, and they gave us these like cups to put them in, which is like a drink cup, whatever. This girl she has a little black purse. I saw her go into the freezer to get some ice cream. I didn't think much because it's like whatever, but I saw her go in there at least 2 or 3 different times. The first time she went in there, she had a cup. The second time she went in there, she had her bag, her little like purse bag thing, and I didn't really think much of it, whatever. The third time she went in there, I saw her go back in there with the little purse bag, and I saw that the bag was kind of like, like if you have a bag and there's like a lot of stuff in there, you could just like see it, like fill up like this sort of. And I was like, wait a second. So I went in there and I looked and I saw that I believe it was the chocolate ice cream was like halved. And that was when I realized, oh my God, she took her little purse and used that as the cup for the ice cream. This girl was so damn greedy that instead that she would, on her way out the door, leaving from work, she's gonna take her purse, fill it with ice cream, and then take it home. And that's normal. There's nothing wrong with women at all. No, 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 nothing like When do you think you would see a man just be like, "Oh, my job is giving me free ice cream. Well, I guess I'll take my bag and fill it up with ice cream." Like that's weird. Yeah, there were some guys that were sitting up in the freezer during their break, and that was weird too. But I'm telling you, man, women, it's just I wouldn't even fathom the possibility of doing something like that. Oh, I really like the ice cream at my job. I can't just get an extra cup. I have to take my bag, stuff it, fill with ice cream, and that'll be my cup. Sounds like something you see in the damn cartoon. Well, I told you I work at the circus. I see a lot of things that are just like backwards. Like, I mean, remember, I'm the same person who got reported by a girl that agreed to go see a movie with me and then played games for what, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, to where I was like, here we are a month later and still no, like nothing, just worthless talk. So anything's possible over there. But I want you to think about this with the one. I'm not gonna like backtrack, but just think about this with the one that thought I was her ex boyfriend. When I sent her that message calling her, cruel, toxic, narcissistic. By the way, those I use those 3 words because that's what she wrote to me in that original message. It's like callback, right? So it's like I wrote back to her what she was called by the ex boyfriend to purposely like stoke the paranoia. And I mean, at this point, I don't care anymore because it's like you've already decided that I'm part of his team or am him. So it really just I've given up any hope of us returning to what we were, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. So she gets that message and she blocks me. And then within 2 hours, she unblocks me and starts arguing again. And then she blocks me a second time. And as we speak, I am currently unblocked. Like she unblocked me at some point in the last few days. And like I said, when you're blocked on there, you can tell you that you are because you can't see the person's like profile anymore. So think about this. And you might not remember, but I did a stream where it was like some girl was saying she was getting bullied by people, and I like during the stream I jumped in the server to try talking to her because I was like, this must be something really crazy, right? If you're gonna unfriend me over a thing I didn't even say. But look, that happened. And this girl starts sending me all these messages about how I'm stalking her by joining the same VCs that she's in. Even though I'm not saying anything, right? I'm literally just in the call. That somehow is stalking. And she's DMing me. Yeah, live drama because it was live drama. I couldn't believe it. I literally left that call minutes before starting that stream, and it was during that stream that I looked on my phone. I was like, wait, what is this? I'm unfriended? What? But this girl blocked me and then unblocked me to be like, you're following me into these different VCs, to then block me again, to then unblock me again. She blocked and unblocked me at least 4 times in 1 week. And every time it was the same thing. She writes more messages in my DMs. Why are you doing this? Why did you say this? I've recorded you. I'm going to get you. And I just got sick of it. I was like, this is stupid. I'm not bothering you. It was dumb. But really think about this. People are supposed to block you when you're bothering them, when you keep messing, when you won't leave them alone. And she is the only person I have blocked from that server. Out of all the crazy chicks, the only one I blocked was her because I just got sick of all of these just sporadic, deranged DMs. It was annoying. Ding, 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 ding. So that's why I did it because I just got tired of constant, just it was stupid. But I said, isn't it crazy that I'm noticing a trend now where a woman will block you and then give it like maybe a few days, a few weeks, you're unblocked. How does that work? Where it's like, don't like you're this big pest. I can't stand you. I'm sick of you. But then a few days later, a few weeks later, you can message them again. What happened? Damn, she's completely mad to the point you had to block. Dude, like she is completely nuts to the point you had to block her. I pledge to you, I can count the number of people I blocked on that account on one hand. Um, both of them are chicks. And one of them told me to end my life, which is why I did that, because I was like, you're not going to write something like that to me and ever be able to write anything else to me. And the one that was in the live drama, because I just got tired of all of these stupid, I'm the victim, woe is me, messages. It just was so obnoxious, and it never ends. If you join a call that she's in, give it like 5 minutes. Why are you here? She got so obsessed with we can be friends if you send me your stream, if you send me your stream, if you send me your stream. I was like, why would I send you a stream where it's me talking about how stupid you are? And they just use the block button way too much. It's overused. Yeah, but they use it to where it doesn't even make sense. Like, I'm going to block you, and then what? 2 days later, a week later, hey, Megumi. Like, what is that? Like, literally, the one that thinks I'm her ex-boyfriend. She gets this message, blocks me, 2 hours later, unblocks me, then blocks me again, now has me unblocked again. And even when she was saying that I was her ex-boyfriend, this man that she thinks needs help and he's crazy and needs to go to therapy, guess what she would not do until that last message, that last interaction? Unfriend me. I was on her friend list the whole time, like up until about 4 or 5 days ago. Or I guess maybe it was last week, but like you get my point that like even after she started spewing you're my evil ex-boyfriend that thinks so little of me, it's like she still would not unfriend me. It's just so weird, man. That's why I said when chicks tell you something, don't believe it. Like they'll sit here and talk about they're being bothered and you're picking on me and all, but they love it because she low key likes to create drama with others. I think, yeah. Man, I just can't get over how hard it is to just be friends with a woman. Like I've seen it backfire in so many different ways. It's not even funny, and it's all been like in the span of the last month or so. There's just been like it just seems like it's been accelerating and getting crazier and crazier. Remember the girl? Hey, let's talk for 5 to 6 hours in these like one-on-one calls. They have now reached a stale point of disinterest. You should have seen it, man. You talk to her, and it's like her brain freezes. She just sits there saying nothing, and I'm like, what is the point of talking to somebody if they're not even going to speak to you? And then gonna say that she likes me romantically without even seeing what I look like, which already had me like red flag because I mean this is the same server where I met, the one that was in the phone, video. But also it's like, yay, I can't wait to date a woman who lives in another country and doesn't want kids, and I have to go and spend hundreds or thousands of dollars to just go see. And even though I'm fully aware there's no long-term benefit to doing this. Woohoo! Sign me up. I even made that point. I think it was on Saturday where I was like, isn't it interesting how when you have a woman in real life doesn't like you can't touch her, you just no physical contact, right? Here's a woman online who says she likes you, but because she lives so damn far away, you get the same result. It's like, yeah, she's saying something different, but I mean, what difference does it make if you still there's still nothing there? And you gotta understand, anytime you want to date somebody that you meet online and they live far away, several states away, several continents away, whatever, it is inherently going to, unless you're very wealthy, it is inherently going to be a long-term goal to go see that person, right? So like you're going to have to predict, hey, look, it's going to take probably about maybe some months, a year, right, to get the money to even be able to go over there. So why would I invest so much time in someone who I have no desire to be with long term because they don't share the same long term goal that I have? It doesn't make sense to me. I'm telling you, man, it's been interesting just like watching patterns. Yeah, I remember you mentioning that girl in your last stream. Stale point of disinterest. You better believe when I read that crap, I didn't even respond to her last message. I just I didn't even say, and she got mad at that because I was in a VC that she joined and I left, and then she left it and then unfriended me. She's actually online right now in some call with somebody else, some other man that she's going to add to her harem. All these different guys in this server that she talks to for like a week, and then she's suddenly in love with them. And before you go around telling people anything else, I really did like you like that. Yeah, I believe that. I'm not being a part of any girl's harem. Forget that crap. No, what she does is that she'll talk to some guy and then she'll claim that she's attracted to him. And then when he's like, yeah, this is stupid, she'll be like, well, I don't want to talk to you anymore. Because she did that. Like she admitted that there were two other guys. LDRs are extremely difficult to work. Right, but I'm saying that it makes even less sense to even try if you know that the other person in this long distance relationship does not want the same things that you do. Like, what is your incentive? I really did like you like that. Yeah, I believe it. But I was going to tell you, I've started noticing a trend now where there are actually these girls that it's like, because remember, there's like this erotic subtext, right? So you have this one who says that she likes me, which I didn't believe because, you know, chicks online have said all manners of stuff. And even if that were true, I still wasn't interested in her anyway. Um, for like three different reasons that I explained to her and I explained before here. But putting that aside, it's like I told you about the one where she was like, if I heard your voice more, I would want more. And you know, that one is also like on we have proof of her saying, can you moan for me? And just like, you know, I mentioned that there was like the one girl online, and she's like, go talk to her then. You know, just really weirdly possessive and sort of it was weird. It was that's all I can say. But you'll know what I'm talking about if I do a video on her. Um, but I don't know. It's like I'm noticing this trend where no matter how much you don't want it to be romantic, and no matter how much you're just like, hey, we're being friendly, etc. There's this almost what's that thing they use for Dragon Ball? It's called like power creep. There's like this romance creep, right? Where like, you know, hey, here's this girl I've been talking to for a few days. You're my ex-boyfriend. Huh? Oh, here's this girl I said, I hope you have a good rest. Are you flirting with me? You heard you remember I mentioned that one on the I'm finished stream. Just but you know what I'm saying, right? That like it's like each one of them, if they're not overtly accusing you of coming on to them, they're like saying overt stuff that is indicative of wanting to date you. It's just it's weird, man. It's strange. Because the one that was saying, you know, if I heard your voice more, I would want more. That one is from I think the UK. And I said before, like I really don't want or have any desire. Like again, putting aside the fact that she already had a boyfriend, I'm not interested in these foreign girls. I'm not. Like I'd love for somebody to explain why a woman can date a man that she went to high school with, college with, saw at a bar, saw at a restaurant, saw at the gas station. But if you're a man, oh, you want to date a woman? Go to the United Emirates, go to the UK, go to Canada. Like, why do I have to do that? Like, what? Think about it. Like, why? Why do you have to drive or fly hundreds of miles just to meet a woman who claims that she likes you? And again, do the like you know it's not going to matter because people sell types of stuff online. Hey Megumi, I really like you, and then guess what? You come to the U.S. I think we should just be friends. You see how quickly they turn on you. The one that says she liked me, it took her I think 7 maybe a week. I'll look through the messages, but I know it was her like interest in me ended after less than 2 weeks. She did her fake I like you confession crap. And then after some days, you know, she was talking about I'm stale and boring and all that crap. Just imagine you fly over there and spend all that money and time, visit them just for them to change their mind and get with someone else. I mean, hey, closest I came to that was with that the one that I asked to marry me that said yes, and it's like, I mean, I've promised myself I will never get that excited about one of these liars ever again. So then all that for nothing. Well, that's why I said I just couldn't imagine like spending all this money and time on one of these girls and then nothing happens. Or if something does happen, it's not what you want, and you feel even dumber for like attempting in the first place. It's like, hey, I really like you. Want to sit here and not actually do anything that advances either desires that one of us wants? Yay. Dude, I don't even know which one to do a video on first because I definitely don't want to do them together. Like in one, like whether it should be the crazy, it was it conspiracy theorist woman thinks I'm her ex boyfriend, or what's the other one? Woman wants to cheat on her boyfriend with me just by hearing my voice. Because the bottom line is you can rarely trust any of them, especially what they say online. Well, that's what I was saying. Like, at least when chicks play these games in real life, you go down the street to a woman says she was like whatever, but like again, imagine again hundreds or thousands of dollars to go and see one of these bastards, and then they pull the plug on you. You thought I liked you, got you. I'd be pissed. You thought I was attracted to you? I don't think so. Like, how lame can you get? I'm just imagining me in that plane, like coming over there. Yay, I finally met a woman after all these years at last. Hallelujah. And then when you get off the plane, well, I really am glad you came to see me, but I just don't. Man, you can't trust anything with these people. Like I said, that coworker thing really screwed me up because, like, now I don't even trust that I could be friends with one of these girls. So, like, again, I just imagining trying to date one that lives that far away when we know that that some of them will change their minds. Like, I change shirts. Like, nope, sorry. You can rarely trust one of them. But Gumi, by the way, I'm going to make my server public, and then as you're joining and you're agreeing to abide by the rules, I'm gonna ban you. Again, like, what's even the point, dude? Like, guys, I've opened a new club. Anyone can join. And you're filling out the papers to join. I just rip them up. If they were to pay for your flight, that would be a difference. Oh, absolutely. But you remember that, like, every time there's money involved in a relationship with a woman, 9 times out of 10, it seems it's the guy that's paying for everything. Like, I can't remember the last time I heard about some man and some woman who weren't a couple, or excuse me, who weren't married, and like, oh yeah, the woman just buys the man food. She bought him a new shirt. Like, it's always the man bought the woman this. He bought her a car. She keeps her stuff over at his place. Like, that's why I said, man. Again, relationships sound really nice on paper. Um, the imagery is really appealing. Oh, look, I get to hold this person's hand, and as that one girl said, to feel their physical touch. It's like, all of it sounds nice, but what do you see when you try to get it? Just crap, trash. Serious, you're like, I'm hard pressed to think of any incentive to keep playing these stupid games. Even if you meet a woman who says she likes you, give it a few days, few weeks. Things change very fast. I was actually surprised by how many guys I've just like known online for years and just like still speak to or still like have some just basic. It's like 6, 7, 8. Like, the more I thought, I was like, well, I've known that person for 4 years, 5 years, 3 years. But with these chicks, you give it a few days, a few months, they're done, and they'll despise you forever. So much refusal over the most basic things out of these interactions. Yeah, you just don't get anything from it. Ooh, this woman might talk to me over the phone if I play this video game. Yay. Dude, that's the funniest part about that interaction. Like, I was getting I started ignoring her after she said the thing about I don't feel comfortable doing VCs with whatever the hell, right? And then she started like kind of trying to amend it a little bit. I wish I had just followed my gut and been like, okay, another one of these no call women. Yeah, goodbye. Then she wouldn't have lasted long enough for me to. I bet that would like if she. I don't know how long it took her to form the "you're my ex boyfriend" theory, but just it would be funny if I had unfriended her after like 2 days. Like, yeah, this is stupid. God, just absolutely nuts. I thought the woman stuff would be over if I just didn't try to date any of them anymore, but I could see I was wrong. They are insane everywhere you go. Don't try to be friends with them ever again. That was my greatest mistake. Don't try to have anything to do with them, is what I would say. They'll drive you insane. Like the first time you speak, one of them is so nice and honestly enjoyable. Oh, yeah. Perfect, darling angel, right? But then give it a few days, few weeks. Here comes the metamorphosis. I don't like you. I think I mentioned there was like this one girl from the what was that the Discord Dingbats Delusions or Delusions of a Discord Dingbat, some alliterative title, but like that was a woman who literally spoke to me one on one, and then all of a sudden was like, "I think we should only speak in my server from now on because if you get to know my friends, it's kind of like getting to know me." And I'm like, "Uh, I'm good." And it's like, "Oh, you don't like me?" I'm like, "Yeah, I like you." "Oh, you like me?" Like, "Yeah, of course I like you." Well, I'm not interested in you in that way. I'm like, no, I meant that I like speaking to you. I don't want you to think I am trying to lead you on. It's like, what are you talking about? Any message that has to start with not trolling is already suspect. I'd be so confused. Like, seriously. I mean, I already explained it was just so I could stop thinking about that horrible coworker, and that did work. I think about her considerably less because there's all these new crazy chicks. And I have met guys that are actually decent. So it wasn't all horrible. The only Discord men that have been crap are the ones that are like defending these weird chicks. But those aren't the ones I've like actually tried to have a rapport with. Me and the boyfriend of that one that thought I was her ex got along very well. Dating apps are no better. Well, I'm not trying to get a date. What do dating apps have to do with just talking to someone? But well, Megumi, we had this conversation about how it's almost like if you just explain things to people, they just they hear what they want to hear. Well, you remember when I did the new Nemesis stream, all the little troll accounts. You, your girlfriend rejected you. It's like it literally was just someone I was trying to go see a movie with. They rejected me so badly that they agreed to it and then stood me up. That's what people do when they reject you. They agree to go do things with you. No logic. Oh yeah, they always believe there's an ulterior motive. I don't know. The one that was I spoke to last year, the banana penalty one. It's like I was getting along really well with her up until the ex-boyfriend got. I mean, the boyfriend got involved rather and torpedoed it. And that's what was so frustrating about that interaction because it's like if she just had a little bit more of a spine, certain men they do. If she just had a little bit more of a spine, maybe we could have seen something good come out of that all that talking. If she had more of a spine, more of a willingness to stand up for herself, it always doesn't last long. Yeah, but they're the ones that kill it. Let me see how cold this is. At best, a boyfriend or ex get insecure, but it's still very finicky. They turn on you so quickly. The amount of streams they've done on this stuff is proof of it. Well, you know what it is like. You can't trust any of them. Like I told the one that said she liked me to her face, we will eventually have a problem with each other. Now, of course, I didn't expect her to say that she was attracted to me romantically and all the rest of that. And I was like, look, I don't. One of the reasons I wouldn't want to pursue that is because I wouldn't want to destroy what I think is a good dialogue that we have here. Because she mentioned that she doesn't talk to any guy that she liked romantically after the fact, like after, whatever. Um, so it's just like they do it to themselves, man. They're the ones that ruin everything. Here we got another hour to go. Let me see if I can. Oh, which one is cooler? It's always been funny how the woman always causes the split. I mean, you can call it funny. I think it's annoying because it's like you talk to this person, you spend all this time with them, and then it's just for nothing. Like, the one with the boyfriend from last year. This girl told me about her whole damn past. She told me about what school she went to, what kind of program she took for her disorders. And I mean, it's like you reveal all this stuff to somebody just so you can stop speaking to them in a week. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. It's weird. It's the same thing with the one that was in the Discord women video. It's like she sent me pictures of her and her baby brother. Like, what is that? What is that to send to someone that you're going to block a week later because they said they missed you? Like, again, it doesn't make sense to me. It's weird. And man, I didn't get to play the audio, but like the part where she said I forced her to accept my friend request, it made me want to vomit. It's like, you heard that girl. That I put the first time we were like speaking to each other. It's in the latter, like toward the middle part of that video, but it's like her complimenting me and whatnot. It's just This is the same period she's claiming that like I used my amazing, I don't know, telepathy powers to force her to speak to me. Megumi writes, it's just so disappointing and missed potential. Well, they love missing potential. They think it's fun. Forced how you came through her phone or computer physically accept your friend request. Dude, whenever you hear a woman say that a man online made her do something, like a man that she's never met anywhere besides online, especially on Discord, she is a complete buffoon, dummy, ignoramus, brainless, babbling idiot. Um, because let me explain this to you. Discord has several features to stop you from ever speaking to a person you want to talk to. If you and I are in the same server and you want to talk to me, you can make it to where only people on your friend list can message you directly. If you and I are in a VC together and you don't want to hear my voice directed towards you, just period, you can mute me and then you'll never hear me again. I could leave and join that call 100 times and you would never hear my voice. If you don't want to get any messages from me, even if you don't have your friend list like, set whatever way, you can block me and then I can't send you anything. So it's really frustrating to be on a site that gives people a million ways to just ignore you, not speak to you, be done with you. And they just won't stop pretending that like they must be around you. You force them to. It's so stupid. Their wording is just so crazy and stupid. I made her accept my friend request. I was like, hey, little girl from Africa, you'll talk to me, won't you? Dude, Megumi, oh, you're hurt because a blank rejected you? I was like, rejected what? I was so confused. I was like, what did you reject? I wouldn't date you anyway. If you said you can either date her or drink a bottle of bleach, I would say, man, open the bottle up. Oh, man. You can't even be friends with that bastard, let alone trying to go. Man, that's a death wish. Oh, you're hurt because a blank rejected you? What did you reject? Just buffoon, man. Like, no brain. Oh, boy. She probably flunked kindergarten like 3 times with that kind of logic. That's the typical reverse psychology, especially when they are called out. It's all about power to reject. Even in social dialogue, women really feel blameless in society for how they treat men. Well, they're just not held accountable. I mean, even when I do a video on them, you have like random guys that spawn out of the clear blue sky to start writing weird stuff defending them. I think they find entertaining of a guy's despise and misfortune. What's really funny is that when she was telling the one guy in that first audio that you hear that she was going to send him like the screenshots of our whole like dialogue, I was like, and I said, I interjected and I said, whoa, whoa, whoa. I haven't told anyone about your dad, your mom, your brother. And that's when she like cut me off and goes, oh, I'm just going to send him the last conversation. So there is a part of her that knows that she probably overshared, so to speak, with me, which is what caused her to be like, "Hey, okay, I'm not going to go all, don't show you the whole damn thing because Some of the stuff in here isn't exactly putting me in the most flat. And my thing is like, even in doing my video, I don't show these people's pictures. Um, I'm just explaining that. Again, people in that comment section tried to make me sound like I was this complete idiot. You thought some woman online actually liked you and wanted to get to know. But again, the point is that it's not a common thing for them to do what she did. The whole like, hey, where'd you go? Oh, how come you won't tell me about this? This is my background and I have these problems and like it's just it's something like all I'm explaining is that I lowered my guard in a way I normally do not, and I got a nice knife for it a week later. I'm very careful. Psychological fishing game. I mean, they can go fishing all they want, but it just drives me crazy that people look at me and they're like, "You must have done something wrong. What were you thinking? You are out of your mind." And dude, like, what drives me nuts the most about these comment sections, and this was something we talked about in Everything Started Crumbling. No one can explain, no matter how many of these guys appear, right? No one can explain why I am incorrect. Everything you do or say can get misinterpreted, though. Exactly. I mean, you saw the girl who said, and if you don't believe me, I'll do a video and screenshot it. Hey, I hope you get some rest. Are you flirting with me? And this is the same girl that was DM calling me. I could say that's flirting, even though I don't think it is. I mean, I Megumi, imagine like, hey Megumi, you're it's like what 12 a.m. in the UK right now. I hope you get some rest. Are you flirting with me? It's like they don't know what casual talking is because most lack social skills and quit. They are used to attention. But that was one of the reasons I brought up the like blocking and unblocking, because when they block you, it's like get away, right? But then they unblock you. And you know why they do that? Because they love the attention, they love the drama, they crave mayhem. Megumi feels like he is being harassed by me. Oh, he just unblocked me. Why do you do that? He loves the harassment. He loves being messed with. Keep it going. Proceed. Because again, why else would you unblock me and make it to where I can keep sending you stuff if you didn't want me to keep sending you stuff? That girl that was pissing me off, sending me all that crap, I haven't unblocked her. She's done. She's finished. Well, you do have the ones that like to join VCs, not say a thing unless they hear something that will cause drama. Oh yes. They'll sit there with their mic muted for like 2 hours. But then they hear somebody call another person, I don't know, the N word. They have this new girl that started working at my job, and she has the whole trifecta. She has a nose ring right here. Tattoo on the arm. I'm so tired of that. I remember back when I was a kid, I was just the only piercing I was used to was the like your earrings. Like I've seen men who have earrings since I was a kid. It's just whatever to me. I don't whatever. But like now they have um like what's that silver thing? They have like the silver thing tied like yeah, the piercings on their like by their eyes, going down their face, in their nose, sometimes on their lips. If they have like an earring, they have multiple ones like going up, up and down the ears. Dude, and like her tattoo, like I told you, there's one girl whose tattoo is like a spider, which I have arachnophobia, right? So like that, I don't know why in the hell anybody would want to see one of those on there. Like every day you wake up, hey, Charlotte, whatever, right? This one has like a tattoo where it's like some writing or something. Tongue piercings too. Megumi, I told you though, I always think about how like the one thing my best friend, my brother who's a child or underage, whatever, and my grandparents and myself always agreed on were that tattoos were stupid. Like that was the one thing all five of us, no matter the age difference, no matter what other varying beliefs on this, that, or the other, the one thing we all agreed on to hell with the ink. We were all united in putting out a finger and being like, keep it to yourself. Yeah, honestly, I just think it is horrible. I feel like I'm gonna throw up if I see too much piercings and tattoo. Dude, and they get tattoos of stuff doesn't even make sense. Like, why does this girl have a spider on her arm? Is that her favorite animal? Oh, by the way, they actually did have a thing where one of the guys asked I guess two of the guys are talking to each other, and one of them asked, "What's your favorite animal?" You better believe when I heard that other guy say gargoyles, I just put my hand over my face. I also mentioned, and maybe you're aware of this, Megumi. You know that tattoos can actually stop you from getting certain jobs, right? Like for example, last year I applied to work in a casino, and they will not let you wear like have visible tattoos. So, like for example, they give you like let's say a polo shirt, right? It covers your arms right up here. And let's say you have a tattoo that's like across your arm, right? Well, you better get used to wearing long sleeves every time you clock in. Because a lot of these people they have tattoos in places that you realistically cannot hide. One of my managers has a tattoo like on this upper part of his hand, right? Like around, like around where he would write like his thumb. Um, there's the girl that had like I'd mentioned she had like the nose ring or whatever. Um, she has like a cross tattoo right behind her ear. Um, God, man. So like, just understand they have potentially screwed themselves out of possible jobs from their obsession with this ink. Yeah, well, dude, like she wouldn't even be able to hide the tattoo because it's right behind her ear. There's no shirt that's going to extend all the way back there. Nah, man, it's weird. Her hair could cover it. I mean, presuming that that's assuming that the casino doesn't have to be like, hey, you gotta have a ponytail, because some of these jobs are like strict about, you know, certain hairstyles they have a problem with, right? So that's assuming that that wouldn't also be an issue. They go crazy with the amount of tattoos. Well, one of my relatives, one of the dumber ones, got a tattoo of a man's name on her foot, and her and that man have not been together in I think 10 years. So it's just my thing is like, as bad as getting a tattoo of somebody's name is, at least you get one of your mom, your dad, your grandpa. Um, it's someone whose relationship with you is kind of like set in stone, right? Like, if you get a tattoo of a romantic partner, you better hope you and them stay together forever, because we discussed this before. It's really awkward having to remove the name of someone that you're no longer with. It's just, people are crazy for even like doing that, in my opinion. I've never really been a fan of the ink, even if it's something I like, etc. No, me neither. In fact, when one of my relatives picked me up from school to show me that they got a tattoo for, like, I guess it was their 40th birthday, I did this. And I would not look at that stupid thing for, I think, 6 or 7 days. I was just like this the whole. Every time they would try to show it to me, they just did this. Because my thing is, why do I need to see something that, first of all, I have no interest in? But secondly, you guys wear this stuff, and this relative, they knew that this tattoo was an embarrassment. That's why they would cover their arms in the initial like weeks and months of them having it, where they were around like certain people, until eventually they started forgetting to cover their arm and people saw it. I'm serious. It was May of 2015. This relative picked me up and they said, "Oh, Justin, I got a new tattoo," and it was on their arm. I went just like this, and I didn't see that thing for an entire week, at least a week. I know it was several days at a minimum. Like, I couldn't look at it. It was stupid to me. And they've gotten some more. They got one on their arm, and they have like one around their like thigh or whatever, or leg or something. It's every time I see that crap, I just go bleh. People can't remember to feed their own kids, but they can remember to stick some ink on them. Cringe. Trust me, I never cringed that hard until I saw that. Absolute waste of money. And it's like, who's benefited by that? Like Megumi, ask yourself this: of all, I'm gonna give you an anecdote. Now, keep this in mind. Every state has a governor, right? And I'm using this as an example because I want you to understand of how like people have such low ambitions for themselves, and it's like reflected in what they do. When I was in 10th grade, I think it was my English teacher, she asked us what was our dream, like what was our ultimate goal. And I said, and I don't like, this is not something I still want to do because I just have gotten so like cynical about things, but I said I want to be the first African American governor of California. One of my classmates, a girl I liked, not in a romantic way, but just someone I really liked, they asked her, what is your dream? And she said, I want to meet Justin Bieber. You don't think it's really sad that someone's biggest goal, I don't care if she was 15 or 16 or whatever, the biggest goal you can make out for yourself is meeting some stupid singer? You know, some people dream of being doctors, football players, engineers, being able to just like travel around the world when they want to. Yes, a high schooler said that occurred when I was in 10th grade. My goal at 16 was to be the chief executive of the largest state in the United States. Hers was to meet a singer. Some people have no shame. But I was saying, like with these tattoos and the ones that this particular relative has, you know, like you mentioned the waste of money aspect, right? Think about this. What would be lost in this person's life if they couldn't get a tattoo across their wrist? Like what would they lose by not having that there? What would they lose if they didn't have a cross tattoo on their shoulder? And remember, this is a person who parades themselves as religious, but they don't go around reading the Bible consistently or practicing the values of it, if you ask any objective person. So, what do having like, what would be lost if they did not have these tattoos? You said, Megumi, absolutely nothing. But isn't that crazy that, like, they didn't just stop at one, they got another one and then another one? And this isn't some kid. These are grown adults that are in many cases. I said they were having a midlife crisis getting the tattoo. Like, dude, how do you go through your 20s and your 30s, no tattoos? Oh, I'm turning 40. Like what is that? I don't think they look edgy. I think they're just stupid. But like most of the people I see getting one for the first time are like 18, again 20. Usually it's like capped off at like the mid 20s, right? I'd never before seen somebody wait until they're 40 to get one. Just weird, man. Just very bizarre. I called it a midlife crisis. I said I've never seen that before. I'm turning 40, so now I need ink on me? Really? I just really wish that more people had their priorities in check. You know, Megumi, another thing is that tattoos are actually associated with a lack of wealth. Like, if you go and look at most, and I'm not counting rappers and basketball players, right? Like entertainment industry people, but if you look at most CEOs of companies and most of the like extremely wealthy people across the world, very few of them have tattoos. So it is a statistical fact that when you get the ink on you, there is a disproportionate chance that you will end up being lower income. It doesn't mean that automatically you will be. It's just there is a correlation between people having tattoos and having less money The people who don't have tattoos and have more money. They blew the money on the tats. But no, I'm just explaining that, like, I remember you mentioning statistics before. Yeah, because they like I wasn't surprised when I saw it. I was like, how many million, like, think about it. How many millionaires and billionaires have you heard of and seen photos of? Oh yeah, here's my new tattoo, man. I just landed on the yacht. Here's my scorpion tattoo. Like, you don't see that. So when you get one, you are increase whether you like it or not, you are increasing the chances that you are going to be poor or lower income for the rest of your life. I mean, I know they don't cost a buck or anything, but I'm just explaining that it's nuts to me that you would get something that actively messes up your chances of getting certain job. I just think it's dumb. I just think it's dumb. The sign of wealth for some, it's a sign of poor for a lot of people. It's like chains and sneakers. It's just that money to pay for the tattoo could go towards necessity or something meaningful. Trust me, man. The money that for a tattoo, um, if I had to like make a list of stuff I would buy, a tattoo wouldn't be in the top 100 or 200. I mean, like I said, sometimes I'll have a tire go flat, car will need an oil change, some gas for like 30 bucks. Food for the week is probably like 50, 40. Um, it's really scary just how it is pointless. But people engage in a lot of things that are pointless. I mean, how many times have you gone and seen like someone sitting outside of a shoe store waiting for some new sneakers to come out? And they'll sit in that line all day long. They'll be outside for like 2, 3 hours just for these new shoes. Remember, I'm so poor, but I can always afford to go on vacation every time it's my birthday each year, and can't help you with getting food, but I can. I just, it's hard not to mention that stuff. They're so full of crap, man. It's not even funny. Dude, another thing we've seen is that the people who claim they're poor have like rooms like filled with clothes, like just loads and loads of clothes. Dude, I remember when my when an idiot I knew got herself kicked out of her apartment building, and she had so many clothes that she kept them in a room and had her boyfriend paying for a storage unit to keep making payments on it for her stuff to be kept there, like just loads and loads of clothes. I love you. That's why I'm not going to help you pay for anything like food. Dude, I think I told you the only time that relative like offered any. Oh, the storage unit chick, yeah, being back with the baby, yep. But I was saying, what's really funny, I'm glad you remember too. But what I thought was really comedic is that the only thing she offered to help me pay for was getting the car washed, like my car. And I'm like, so wait a second, if I have a tire come off or a tire go flat or the oil needs to be changed, no assistance with that, but you'll get caught up on some cosmetic crap that doesn't affect the way the vehicle drives at all. And people wonder why I say that, like, it's just, I'm so like this. Think about this. This car's wheels could be flat. I think Megumi, did I ever mention, like, on a stream that I was one time I was driving on the freeway and my wheel exploded. And when I say that, I'm not talking about, oh, it goes flat, right? And then you start like feeling it. No, like the wheel actually, and I still have pictures of it. The rim, you could see the rim on top of the pieces of the tire after it blew out. And at first I thought it was like some music I was listening to. All of a sudden, and this is while I was on the freeway. I thought I was going to die. Back in February. And I remember what went through my head. I was like, oh, man, I'm never going to see my family again. Oh, wait a second. All the relatives that were actually worth the damn are dead. All right. Take me. But no, the wheel exploded. And I was just happening to like almost be off the freeway anyway. And I went to this tire place. They put a new one on for, I think it was like $40. But my point is that, like, no matter what utility you would need for the vehicle, the only thing that person cared about was, has it been washed? Just la la land, man. I don't know what world some of these people live in, but it's not the real one. Yeah, that's crazy. In the day or so, it'll be dirty. Well, that's my point. Like, why? Honestly, what I would do is get probably like a black towel, black rag, and just clean it off with that every like maybe few weeks or whatever. Right? If you really care about it not being dirty. But man, when you get to like October, November, December, January, it's raining so often that I don't see the point in getting it washed if the rain's going to do that anyway. I keep thinking of all the Wi-Fi issues at the other house, and it's like, here I am with the internet that is only a fifth of the price of the one over there, and there's no Wi-Fi, no network connection issues. But then over there, when you're paying 200, it's every other stream crashing and blowing up. Man, I don't know how that works. I'm telling you, Megumi, that shift from this morning and yesterday, I said I might as well just do the stream today because they gave me 8 hours. I made all of them count. That place was spotless when we left. You could see a reflection in the ground. The service providers here have been increasing their prices, and we rarely get compensation for when the service goes down. Oh no, because what they do is they say, well, it's only one day, it's only 3 hours, it's only 5 hours. I can't wait for my job to screw me out of my discount when the worst manager comes back on, what is it, tomorrow? Yay! Now, I don't know if we've discussed this, Megumi, but I hope you understand that when you have a job where they despise people getting free food that they're not even going to use anyway, that they will bar the managers from letting the employees eat the free food that they're throwing out and getting rid of if it's not eaten. Um, I also have to contend with a single manager, a single lone lunatic who is so obsessed with trying to screw me out of $7 that she will. That's what I said, man. I really, some of the stuff I see from people, it just makes you sick to your stomach. So I mentioned that, like, the way it works is that as an employee, you get a half off discount, which it's supposed to mean that anytime you order something, it's half off. You buy $50 worth of stuff, it's 25. You buy, $10, it's 5. Um, every time I order some stuff, and I order enough stuff so that I have something to eat when I get home, because usually when I get off, most things are closed. Every other manager, they just swipe it and then I get it half off. This bimbo will like swipe and then insert some little crap and then go, your discount only applies to one combo. She's garbage, man. Human garbage. And I've made a new deal because she's done this to me twice. We have a new system in place now that she's been read, where anytime I see that she's on the schedule, I go and I eat somewhere else. And if I eat there at all, I only order one of something because I'm not letting her screw me out of my money anymore. The first time she did it, I said, you know what? Maybe she doesn't understand that you don't have to. Everybody else doesn't do that, right? But the second time, and I was like, okay, we've read you now. This is me reading her. Okay, now we know what you are. Yep. We've read her all the way through. Always one of those. Yeah, I remember you talking about her. I think she's doing it. She is, because, dude, every other manager, they swipe the thing and then you get it half off. Nobody else goes, that'll be an extra $7. You see why I don't like chicks? Like, there's no reason to do that other than just, I guess, trying to be, because, like, I mentioned that they have an upper manager who, like, is one of the bigger boss people, right? And okay, when he's there, I get wanting to look more professional, more like you're doing things correctly. But there is literally nothing gained for this place when this guy is not around and everybody else is giving me half off, and you're the only one trying to stop me from getting some, like, I just, it's so gross, man. But like I said, we know what we're dealing with now. She's been read all the way through. It is done intentionally, though. That's very apparent. These are some evil bastards, I tell you. They are always. I wish they put this much effort into, like, making their place run effectively. Like, instead of trying to screw Justin out of $7, how about we try to actually, like, I don't know, not bar people from eating food that we were not using anyway. Like this. Like, think about this. These CEOs are corporate bastards, are so evil that they would rather take perfectly good food and throw it in the trash than let their own employees, the people who without us, they wouldn't even be able to run any of these stupid stores. They would rather throw this perfectly good food in the trash than let us take it home and have something to eat for free. And you can't tell me that's not heartless, that's not despicable, that's not demonic. Because again, it's like the only alternative for this food is getting wasted. And you're giving it to people who gave you something, their labor. So I said, just gross, man. Like some of these corporations are like, I'm not even gonna say some. These corporations are run by villains because there's literally no reason to get rid of perfectly good food that your employees want to eat other than just being demonic. Thank goodness for the restaurant I used to work. We actually were able to have some of the leftovers. We were able to too until one of the managers found out that people were like making stuff for themselves. So he was like, well, now nobody can eat anything. They are acting like it's a waste of food to feed you guys, especially when the food hasn't even been touched. It's literally stuff they're not even going to use. They're throwing it out. Dude, there's one guy at the job, when they tell him to take out the trash, he will actually open the bag of the food they're throwing out and eat some of it. Like open the bag of like the food that's being thrown out, take some out. and you know, he made a good argument. He said, you can call me nasty all you want. It's nastier to let good food go to waste, and I'm giving you all this damn labor for free. I would never be like unsanitary enough to do that, but you won't see me stopping him or saying anything. Well, it's a shame that he feels like he has to do that because they won't let him just get a tray or a plate and just get some of it and take it home. I mean, the only alternative is sneak eating. I mean, I told you stuff like over here. I don't have a stove or an oven, so every day I have to go out and like get something and hope it lasts that night or those 2 nights or whatever. And I mean, it does bother me to work at a restaurant, see all this food that's not going to be eaten, and just not be tempted to get some of it. Like, oh, look at all this. Oh, mm. They feel the trash the better outlet for the food. Yeah, because they're disgusting. That's disheartening. Bagumi said that my job sounds like a cartoon. You said that earlier. I was thinking about the girl putting all the ice cream in her back in her purse. Dude, she was just like, I don't know how no one else saw that. I always have an issue with Gordon Ramsay's show because they waste food, but it's all cooking shows, really. Well, it's even more egregious here because, again, like you have all these employees that want some of the food that you're getting rid of anyway, and you're still like you'd rather just waste it than give it to them. It's true that's something you see out of a cartoon. I thought the guys taking their break in the freezer was cartoonish. I thought the one guy spraying the manager with the hose was cartoonish. I thought the guy getting arrested, what was that, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, was cartoonish because he like, dude, he took off his shoes and was like screaming and locked himself in the manager's office, and even though they all have keys, so what's even the point of that? Like, first time I've ever been to where one of my coworkers got arrested. He made history. What is the real loss? I don't get that. Treating employees like trash result in them leaving. It's oh yeah, well that they're already doing that. That's why they gave me 8 hours yesterday because they were low on people. Anytime they give me more hours, it's usually in response to more and more people just being like, "Yeah, this is stupid. I'm out." Magumi, you should have seen it. I was on autopilot when we got to that because when you get these breaks, they like take I guess half an hour off. So when I crossed the 8 hour mark, I was just like just cleaning the thing, just like robotic, like sweeping the same part. Just like waiting to go. The only people left when I left were me and 3 managers, and we all got overtime. I was like, yeah. I've been struggling to get more than like 5 hours a shift. This one was 8. I really felt like a mini manager because they had me stay there longer than anybody else that wasn't part of their clique. It blank for people who use the money they have to subject themselves to this treatment. Yeah, it's really sad, but these companies, they're going to learn the hard way when they can't get anyone to work for them. More and more people are just going to keep quitting until they fix their ways. Oh, I think I mentioned that the girl that Megumi, you'll get a kick out of this. That girl that said that she liked me on uh, on Piscord. Oh, let me read what she wrote. About time you get to be getting some more hours and money. I meant you probably didn't see it, but like I mentioned that last week I was ordering 2 of the thing I like to get, and one of the managers took my order, and it was like half the price, and I got confused. Like, I want 2, right? He's like, oh yeah, the other one's on me, and and he was like, I really appreciate it. So I was like, oh wow, I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. I just was like surprised. I brought that up yesterday. I was like, I won't forget that. I was like, wow, a manager at my job would sooner buy me some food than my own guardians. That did resonate with me. That will stay with me for the remainder of the time I'm there because I just didn't expect it. Only so much turnover you can go through before looking sus. Need better labor laws and unions. Oh, we've been talking about unions before and how they get crushed by these horrible monopoly companies. Uh, but Megumi, my favorite thing about the one that said that she liked me on Discord was that she called herself overweight, right? And of course, because I like speaking to her, and I'm not like trying to be romantic with her, I don't say anything one way or the other. But what I thought was funny is that again, she calls herself this, And the entire time we speak to each other, we do some calls where we're both on camera. I only ever see her eat one time. And you want to know what she ate in front of me? Remember, I won't. We do all these calls. I only ever see her eat once. I think you have a good idea of what she was eating. This person who admits that she's overweight. I feel like you could probably guess. You probably have a really good clue as to what it was. I actually didn't even say anything. I was just like, wow, you say that about yourself and then you go and eat this. Better it was better not be some ice cream. Man, when she said, I'll be right back, I'm getting some ice cream, and she pulled out that damn chocolate bar and was just chewing on it. I couldn't say anything. I was just like, like, man, I don't play most of the stuff I have, but like, this girl said that she looks pregnant when she wears dresses, and um when she, like, I saw her, she did have this thing where sometimes when she would like move up, you could see her shirt like pulling up and then her belly, right? And again, I'm not saying this to make fun of the way she looked, but you would never see me say that like about myself and then eat something like that. Why oh why? What's actually really funny is that so she's like I think 5'4", 5'3", and she either weighs more than me or about the same. Um Now, Megumi, I think you might believe me if I tell you that I'm tall. Like you saw in my, what's that stream called? Trial, right? Where I was like standing up. Um, so I hope you understand that like when a woman who is 6 or 7 or 8 inches shorter than me weighs about the same, it's kind of a problem. Like, what the hell? What is it with these obese ice cream? They love it so much. Well, I told you one of the girls at my job, she's only like she and I are only like she's like slightly older than me. And she doesn't work there anymore. I guess she transferred to another one or whatever. But I'll never forget, she would wear these black pair of pants and they would be like bulging from her like her stomach and the bottom part of the pants. It almost you remember the classic design for Eggman? I'm not even trying to be funny. Like you would really think her pants were about to just like blow off. Like that's how um big that part of her was. And I was just sitting there like, and guess what? Every time I would see her, just keep saying, this woman is married and she has a kid. This woman is married and she has a kid. This woman is married and she has a kid. This woman is married and she has a kid. This woman is married and she has a kid. This woman is married and she has a kid. Because I just like I couldn't fathom that any man would want that, but I was wrong. Men will take anything. No, T. My point is that people talk about my appearance, right? Oh my God, da 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 da. Da. But then go to the gym, go to the gym. Oh, this woman is literally what? Probably over 100 pounds bigger than she should be. No issue. She has a partner. Perfectly fine. Nothing to see here. Carry on. No, T. Don't make me play that clip. That's not what I'm getting at. If somebody likes that, whatever, but don't sit here and strongly criticize me for my appearance when you have women who probably can quote unquote improve themselves as well, but are not incentivized to because men take anything with a triangle on it. Yes, it's about Megumi. Yes, it's about how the double standards are. A woman can look whatever and not face any criticism. None whatsoever. Any way she wants. That's what we were saying. That's the problem here, the double standards. Versus a guy who is constantly told to self-improve for the sake of attracting women. Dude, I told you before that if like the best I can get from chicks are these like foreign girls saying, "Oh yes, I like you," and come see me in this country that cost hundreds or thousands of dollars. Like you could keep it because again, dude, like none of it's viable. You know, like I. It's just so stupid, man. You are very hostile. Men putting in effort while women do not need to. Oh, don't need to. Yep. And that's why I said the juice isn't worth the squeeze. But I agree with it's always a man's fault. It's not. It just goes to show they aren't incentivized to improve themselves in any way because any guy would be willing to take them. Dude, they're so like again, um, when we talk about like being overweight, right? There's different levels to it. There are some people that have like a little bit of a tummy, right? There are some people where it's very prevalent in their face. They've got kind of like the double chin thing going on. There are some people where their hands are like kind of what's the way of putting it? You see these like giant arms, right? Of like what they so there's different levels to it, right? And I was saying that I've started noticing that when I see someone who is like really obese, like not just they got a little tummy, as in the whole double chin thing, it tends to mostly be girls. And it's not even when I say girls, I hope you understand. I've been like just driving around. I got a lot of schools near me. I see girls who are like 15, 16, 17 with that appearance. These aren't women who've had 2, 3 kids or whatever. Like young girls who are just massively bigger than they should be. That's I'll leave it at that. But also, I'm saying that when I see these like extreme levels of obesity, it tends to be women. Like at the job, there's like one guy that I would say is kind of chubby, right? Like with the stomach, but in terms of like the mass, that mostly is reserved for those same two women that worked there or don't work there anymore, that were there from when I started up until a few weeks ago, and they both had boyfriends. So, well, one was married, one had a boyfriend. My point is that like they have no incentive to care about their weight because Men will take anything. And that's why I told you when I saw that and I thought about all the stuff people have told me, it drove me insane because I was like, this is really what you guys are going to try and like shame me over when you see the way some of these women look. But also, I told you this before, Megumi. I got the confidence to wear whatever I wanted, to talk whatever way I liked, because I truly and genuinely, I will look you into this camera. If I saw you in person, I'd say the same thing eye to eye with you. I genuinely believe nothing I do makes a difference with women. I've told you that before. I could talk to one of them with a very low monotone. I could talk to them with a much higher expression. No difference. You could ask one of them to go see a movie with you uh, the day before, the week before, a woman you've met 2 months ago, last night. It's a date. It's not a date. It doesn't make a difference. It will always lead to ruin. And you will always be blamed for it. So what is the purpose of doing stuff just for them? If you know that there is a surefire result that you're going to get no matter how hard you try. What's the purpose? I'd love to know. I'm all ears. So yeah, for real, 100%. Megumi, when I did like the whole dresses thing or skirts, whatever, that was where it was really like, yeah, I do not care anymore. like, like if you can put that on in front of them, there's no question of, oh man, he still thinks that if he tries this or does that, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. I'm serious. Like there was a time where I calculated stuff. Oh, maybe if I wear this, maybe if I put that, but that's behind me, man. Because it's been too long. And dude, like, think about this. Are you really gonna spend the rest of your goddamn life doing things because of what some hypothetical woman might like? Are you serious? Like, that the way this is supposed to work is that some guy will try for probably like a year and a half to get a girlfriend, and then after that he can, I guess, be with her, and if she truly loves him, she will accept him for who he is, etc. Are you telling me that you're going to spend year after year after year listening to these different dating gurus and whatever telling you about what you need to do to magically get with this, again, hypothetical woman, not a woman that they're actually like some tangible girl that you can see and know the specific thing? Like, are you serious? You're going to spend this years, possibly decades long attempt at just appealing to the hypothetical triangle? Are you serious? I'm just asking. Like, that's what you want the rest of your life to look like? Yeah, but self-improvement doesn't end. Like, listen, self-improvement is a thing that these guys say because they want you to believe in something that they can continuously hold over your head, nonstop, never ending, continuously, year after year, and blame you as having not done enough when it doesn't go the way that they claim. That means your life will be getting dictated by others who don't even know you personally. No, that's why I said hypothetical woman. I know I said it's a lie. And guys who don't even have a character arcs. Nope, it's always your fault. That's their arc. They're very one note. It's always your fault. You must have done something wrong. It's always your fault. This woman thinking I was her ex boyfriend. It's always it was my fault. If only I hadn't made my account on June the 10th. Dude, me and the guy have been getting along pretty well. I think I'm gonna like actually try to become like more and more friendly with him. If there's one good thing that's come out of that thing with her, it's meeting him. I have to admit, we've been getting along very well since we connected over her insanity. She brought us together. Gumi, do you have anything else left to say? Because I am kind of wanting to pack it in at this point. I feel like we've gone for a decent amount of time. And like I said, I started this like what, less than 2 hours after getting off of that enormous shift. So I am kind of getting tired now. So if you have anything left to throw out, let me know. I definitely did like this sequel. Hey, we had a nice plot twist where me and the actual boyfriend started like connecting and hooking up, and he started explaining more stuff about her. We learned more about her craziness. Her sister is apparently just as nutty as she is. Thank God I didn't encounter her. That's what happens in the best sequels, right? You learn more about the people, right? Like I said, I'm trying to put out the Discord leader video, and I just hope you understand. Don't let anybody convince you that a website is all bad. Chicks are bad on every site, in my opinion. But if you talk to some guys, I'd say 9 times out of 10, you won't see anything crazy happen. That's just my experience. I've met some really nice people on every site, mostly men, but still, it's like, these sites are reflections of their operators. So when you see someone acting crazy or nutty on there, it's usually that person in particular. It's not the site making them do that. Anyways, thanks for showing up, Megumi. T's a newcomer apparently. I saw him leave some comments before, and I'll try to put out this video because I work for the next like few days after this one, but I'll try to work on it today after I wake up. Hope you take care. Thanks for the stream. Yeah, have a good rest of your day, and I'll stream again on Saturday. So I'll see you, and I'm glad you enjoyed the the sequel. You've never seen this. 2.